Welcome to Shardcast, the Brandon Sanderson podcast. We're a bunch of mega fans giving you the news discussion and, of course, a lot of opinions about Brandon's work and the Cosmere. I'm Eric, and joining me is Ian.
Hey, I'm Weiry, and I'm being called out by my friends. Anyway, yes. I have Show and Tell, which is the standard edition of the limited edition Children of the Nameless from Subterranean Press arrived that we talked about 2 episodes ago. 2 episodes
ago. That's correct. Okay. 2 episodes ago. Yes.
And yeah, so let's see. Let's find some pretty art.
I love how Discord's like, let's make you pixely when you show things off. I always love that.
Always.
Well, it's because there's a lot of movement. So
no, the entire thing was okay.
No, I see when he like sits there motionless for a bit, the image has time to.
I'm just saying. Everyone else's camera looks fine.
Well, because everyone else is not moving. That's how compression works.
No.
Yeah, I'm sure audio only listeners loved hearing that. Well, Ian,
yes,
pictures to our YouTube. Yes. I'm sure.
Yeah, if you are listening to this, just imagine pixelated
3D art.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, it's thicker than I remember the story being. But
that's what
also. I mean, there's not a lot of text on per page, so. But I'm looking forward to rereading it.
We wouldn't know because we saw none.
Oh.
This is demonstrably more pixely. This is not a motion artifact, Evgeni. I understand how the compression works.
Well, it's a lot of fine. Like, if he had held the book there for a few seconds, the image would have crystallized a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, well.
All right. Evgeni. Welcome to the show.
Hi, I am Argent, and I also have Show and Tell.
Okay.
We attended, or all of us?
All of us
attended JordanCon?
No. 4 or 5 of us.
Most of us attended JordanCon a couple of weeks ago. And one of my friends there, my friend Megan, attacked me with a present that I was not expecting.
How rude.
And it's a little Bluetooth speaker. I was like, hey, why am I getting Bluetooth speaker?
Argent.
It's because it's Argent on it.
It legitimately, I was like, is that a camera lens? That's where I'm at.
Yeah, so this is not custom made, or at least not for me. She says she found it in her house.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
That's very funny.
So neither one of us has like a good idea about how this thing could have come into existence. But she decided that I must own this, and I now own this. I have no need for a Bluetooth speaker, by the way. But as far as I'm concerned, this is now a little thing to go on the shelf.
You used fortune, and you knew that choosing your username this way would lead to this moment.
This word that no one ever uses in any capacity, and it's not a standalone word that has its own meaning. And it's also, I think it was like a crypto company at one point. I don't know.
I think it's also like a Warcraft word as well, for sure, right?
Well, that's where I picked it from.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, there was a like an order of paladins known as the Argent Crusade or the Argent Dawn, and so that's where I got it
played
from.
Hearthstone, so I know these things.
Yeah.
Also joining us is Grace. I feel like we haven't had you on for a while.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't been on for a while either. I am GatorGirl. I have the necklace that I've owned for 9 years and have worn on every single Shardcast for Show and Tell. I don't know. I felt left out.
Have you only worn this for 9 years? I feel like it's been longer, but
I got this for my 17th birthday.
Okay.
We would not have video called until after I was 18.
That's a good point. That's good.
So I have worn this for pretty much as long as you've known me.
Yeah. I both am like 9 years. Wow, that's been such a long time, but it also feels like it's been longer, actually, in this specific instance. I don't know.
Were like gold chains, like neck gold chains, ever like a big thing in the States?
Yes.
Or did that never make it here?
I do think that there, as you did that, yes. I'm like, yes, that being an Eastern European thing, that was very common. That does make a lot of sense.
I feel like it gives a specific picture of who you are as a person, and that picture might be a little bit Eastern European.
I think it might.
I mean, not wrong.
That's really funny. Yeah. No, this one. So I like many people in my tween/early teen years. It certainly must have been preteen. Got really into Go chains. Some of the people I knew needed more heft in theirs. I liked the smaller, kind of more delicate thing. I used to wear a cross, by the way. I used to wear a silver cross, like early teens.
I'm just imagining a bunch of like 11 to 12-year-old preteen Eastern Europeans. It's like, yeah, we got the gold chain. We're so cool. Hell yeah.
But this one was present from my parents very early on, and I've worn it for over 20 years now.
Nice.
Little bit of Argent lore.
I'm unchained, so that is not me, so.
I stole your thunder because you violated the sanctity of show and tell by re-showing a thing you've already shown.
I mean, maybe it's been a long time. Maybe there are people who just started watching recently and don't know about my necklace.
That's not
true.
how it works.
I mean, we've never cared about explaining our inside jokes in the last 5 years as
Look, if people wanted to know what the hell's going on, they would go and watch 500 hours worth of backlog, and then they will understand.
Yeah, we are in the episode
500 hours, or is it more?
I haven't updated my spreadsheet in a long time because that's work, and I don't have time for any of that. But I do know that we are in like we're above episode 280, but we're below episode 290.
I can check. Last time my Chrome lagged when I did, but I can check.
Oh, like playlist counter?
Yeah, I have an extension that tells me how long playlists are.
Nice. Well, while you do that, welcome to the show, Bonnie. Hi.
Hi, I'm Cosmeregirl, and I brought some cool art for show and tell. This is Melissa Guy did these, and I just think they are amazing fantasy pieces.
Yeah, you need to hold them longer.
Oh.
Whoa, holy crap.
What?
Right?
What?
No, we
They're
were
so
talking about
cool.
the pixelization.
No. No.
Your entire
Discord compression is just being worse today. It's usually not this bad. No, this art is
But the
pretty sick.
painting also deserves that reaction.
Yeah, yes, it
now
absolutely
that we
does.
can see the painting, it deserves an ooh.
Okay, let me know when it's good. Let me know when it stopped pixelating.
It is
Yeah,
good.
no, that's
It's
good. That's good.
As is
All
the
right,
art.
I'm gonna go back to this one because this one is gorgeous.
Jeez,
I love this
oh
shit.
my god. Okay,
Yeah,
we're
it's
getting there.
pixelating very strangely.
You
That is
are gonna need to see what that looks like because it's.
Are you enjoying this, audio listeners? Yeah. Nice.
Well, you too can watch 500 hours.
yes. Hell yeah.
I left one of these.
And you got these at JordanCon.
Yes, I did.
Ooh.
Space whale or air whale, rather.
Space whale.
But
we love that.
well, cloud whale.
Whales.
I love this.
I think cloud whales have the ability to become space whales.
I love the production value on this show. Screen recording a Discord call that's being pixelated. It's really good. It's really good. I like the time when we were doing the screen sharing for the Cosmere RPG one to show off things, and then everyone's picture, because I was screen capping something that was so small on the Discord thing. They were so small and pixely. That's good. I like that. Put your comments below if you like the production quality too.
So 281 episodes in the playlist right now, and 545 hours.
That sounds, yeah.
Okay.
And some
Nice.
change.
Nice. I may have forgotten to put one in the playlist because I do think that is a different number than what the podcast metadata says.
Yeah,
You're
it
never
might be a
finding
little bit
which
off.
one that is, if that is the case. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, the most recent 100 episodes are almost half of the. So
Yeah.
about half of the.
Yeah.
About a third of the episodes are about half of the runtime.
Well, yeah,
So,
those are the modern episodes. Yeah, for sure. Okay, and I'm Chaos, and today what we're going to do is we are going to talk about yet more WoBs from the December spoiler stream. I know it's May. It's fine. It's fine.
There were a lot of
We've done
WoBs.
other things,
There's a lot.
we were just stretching it out.
Yeah, we had some other things, and so we have that, and we have there'll probably be 2 more episodes, or there'll be this episode and then at least 1 more episode of WoBs from this, but we'll see how fast our pace is. It's probably slow. So, Ian, why don't you hit us up with this first question?
Is hit us up the right term of phrase to use there?
I don't know. I got up at 4:30 today. I'm so tired that I'm like, I'm here.
Just, Ian, hit on us with this first question.
No. We don't want to do that because it's about negative investiture. It'll kill us.
Well,
okay.
what?
I'm just going to start talking and people are going to stop. This question is from somebody named Jay of Woo or something.
Woo!
We love
Who
Jay.
knows who they are? Are the shades on Threnody made of negative investiture? Brandon, the shades are not, but the evil is. Shades are a different thing, and they are not what would be considered negative investiture. This makes sense to me.
I am mildly confused by that.
Why is that?
I guess the way I've been thinking about ambition is Odium comes in, does whatever he does, and then in like Ambition's death knell, all of her I've been thinking that all of her investiture gets flipped, and like little chunks of it rain down on Threnody and like latch onto people's souls, and that's what shades are. And big chunks rain down across the Cosmere. Well, I mean, not rain down, but like they.
Argent was not on our
roam across
Threnody and the evil episode where we hashed this out.
No. Do I remember what we hashed out on that episode?
I do remember that
but,
we
like,
did.
I remember talking about this. And
I
I'm like,
do remember
I think
that we said that shades are likely not anti-investiture.
yes.
I remember that.
Yeah,
Okay.
because it.
justify.
Well, one, like, Ambition passed through, bad stuff happened on Threnody, then like they continued on their fight and she was killed elsewhere. So it's like wouldn't have happened in the order you described. But also like their souls would have exploded. like unless Threnodites have souls made entirely of negative investiture or anti-investiture, which we'll get into, who knows, which is not the case, then like it doesn't make sense that their cognitive shadows would be negative investiture.
Yeah. And so
I've always seen this as the shades came to exist before the evil.
yeah, because I think it's the warping from that like clash that went through the 3 realms that caused that. Ambition died somewhere else. The shades, or sorry, not the shades. The evil, the negative investiture guys, they came from that, and Threnody was like nearby-ish, and so that's why the evil got there. And so that was like the sequence. That was my understanding.
Did people on Threnody have shades before moving to the Forest of Hell? Because I feel like the implication is they didn't. Or at least they didn't, like, stick around in the same way.
I don't think that they did.
But then when we see, like, the people of Canticle have shades.
Yeah, but they are refugees from...
Yeah, but I don't know. So it's like, my point is, like, it potentially started when they got to the Force of Hell, but after that point, it is not location specific. Which just, I don't know. I feel like there's something weird here.
Which sounds like you were born with a shade.
You're born with what would become a shade?
Yeah, they have like extra innate investiture, right?
So it's like a breath.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like an evil breath.
Yes. Okay.
Evil
It is
breath.
like an evil breath,
But
yeah.
not negative breath.
Not negative breath. But
Foreshadowing.
Yes.
Other point you made, Evgeni, I don't think all ambition everywhere got flipped. I think it was just like because it's like there's an infinite amount of investiture that the shard is like aware of but not aware of.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's all
So it's like all the stuff like on like the extremities that like she wasn't like actively controlling, probably still positive.
Yeah, okay.
And like everything under
sense.
her control got flipped.
So like if like huge chunks were split off during the battle at Threnody, I don't think Ambition, Ulada, would have access to those and would not necessarily be able to.
I'm more talking about like the background investiture that's just pervades the Cosmere rather than like discrete chunks. But like there could be big discrete chunks that had been split off or just like coagulated out there that like she wasn't actively controlling / aware of.
Yeah,
like,
I guess
it's not part of like the central node.
Yeah.
System.
I think I'm in agreement with you. I'm maybe just saying it badly because if Threnodites have that extra innate investiture from Ambition, that's the stuff that I'm referring to, like breaking off in some sense that like Ambition wouldn't have access to, right?
I wonder.
So there is a quote that I'm trying to find.
Oh, perfect.
But it's from Arcanum Unbounded.
Yeah.
Secret History.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
And I'm trying to hunt this down.
Are you talking about the rituals?
The rites.
Yeah, the rites.
And rituals.
Yeah, and essentially that shades used to work differently. And that's what made me think that the shades existed before the evil.
I don't think that's what that quote says.
Because Naz also makes a comment in Secret History of like being surprised that Kelsier is a cognitive shadow without rights, and he's like, "You're not supposed to do this. There are rights involved. We don't know what those rights do."
Yeah,
because we also like see in Shadows for Silence people die and no rights are done, and there are shades.
Yeah, so I got the quote. Now says, one doesn't merely decide to become a shadow. Great phrasing. I love that. It's an important right with requirements and traditions. This is, he threw his hands into the air. This is a bother. Yeah, I've never understood what this meant, and I still don't. I
think it's quite clear, right? It's if you don't like, I think Naz is drawing a line between a shade and a shadow. So if you just, die willy-nilly, then you turn into a mindless shade, likelihood. But if you undergo certain rites and rituals, you essentially get stabilized, right? So I am like, surely it is the case that the Naz we see in Isles of the Emberdark has made this decision and has undergone those rites or something like them, and that's why he has control of his faculties. And so he sees in front of him Kelsier, who is a stable cognitive shadow, and goes, "Wait, that's not. You're supposed to do things to become this way."
Okay, so he's not talking about the base shades, but it is certainly a thing. Different in Sunlit Man, that just because someone dies in the Forest of Hell doesn't mean they're turned into a shade, right? Like that is certainly the case in Shadows for Silence.
Yes.
They like bash a dude's skull and he does not turn into a shade, right? Like that's not at all the case. Now, if you are killed by a shade, then you turn into a shade, right? Like that's how it is there.
And it might also be a thing where if you die, like maybe there's a period of time where you can die from not natural, but like mundane causes, and then maybe a shade can still get to you.
I think that your soul would pass to the beyond too quickly. I don't know.
In Canticle, though, they just become the shades if they're killed like violently or like killed not by the sun, right?
Well, the thing with so the sun kind of sidesteps the whole thing. So I
Yeah,
still think
yeah,
they
but
become shades. It's just that the sun obliterates the shade immediately.
But you don't need a shade to become a shade on Canticle the way you do in the Force of Hell.
That's
Is
true.
what I'm getting at.
That is well, because isn't there that line
You
that said
don't-
if the sun doesn't consume them, that shades would run across Canticle? Isn't there that line?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Well,
sounds
there's
familiar.
also like the chorus, or
Yeah,
is it the chorus, the choir?
Yeah, the chorus.
Yeah, but they say
okay.
in the book that like, because isn't that what like Rebeek or something says about like her brother? Like she thought she saw her brother in the chorus
Yes.
because he was like killed not by the sun.
Yes, I think
And like
Yeah,
maybe to
something-
some extent that's superstition, but
yeah.
that's like it seems to be the prevalent understanding.
That like
is
whatever shade stuff is sucked into the chorus or something like
Yeah.
that.
I don't think anybody believes her though.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't know if
think-
that's actually a
Yeah,
thing.
it's like there were like a lot of people that are like, nah. That said, like I do think that's what like she's correct, but
Yeah,
which maybe
something-
things harder to understand mechanically, but like
I mean,
Yeah.
it's got to be some like investiture suck. We've seen a couple of the. We've seen Braze, we've seen Canticle to an extent.
OG
It's some
Zellion,
kind
he knows.
of-
He knows about Braze and the
yeah,
Soul Suck.
yeah. It's some
Makes
kind
sense.
of a Fabrio. It's some kind of piece of magitech that if someone dies and spawns a shade, maybe like with like close enough to the investiture sucker,
To the
the shade
reliquary.
gets drawn into to the reliquary. The shade gets drawn into there, and like so it protects the people around it from being overrun by shades. But if you die far enough away,
Something similar. Oh, go ahead.
if you die far enough away, you can still spawn a shade that is outside of the circle of influence of this thing, and then the sun comes in and obliterates it.
They
We
say
see
this.
something similar in Emberdark where the Malwish intentionally drag Naz into a little box.
yeah, I agree with all of this, but this is not my point.
Yes.
My point is that we established that on the Forest of Hell, you can just murder people and
Yes.
it won't inherently spawn a shade.
Yes.
But that
true.
does not seem to be the case on Canticle.
Yes. And to go back to an even earlier point, I do think that people didn't become shades in the homeland. So they left. Shades were on the Forests of Hell because they killed all the predators, and that seemed to have been the case for a long time. And then the shades who kill people, like those Serenadites have that innate investiture, and then their soul is turned into a shade. And so we don't know necessarily why the first shades happened or why necessarily things work differently on Canticle. I think it's maybe a little
like-
weird.
Trinity book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe Canticle has enough like ambient investiture from the sun that it's like easier to become a shade there or something. I don't know.
A stable investiture field.
Yeah.
You need the stable investor
mean-
field to break down the identity fields, obviously.
Yeah,
Obviously.
We all know.
Of course.
intuitively obvious to the anyway. I mean there are a few things that could be going on, and we've deviated from the are they negative investiture
Yeah, completely.
question.
We're just doing the
but,
same episode we did last.
Yeah, I wasn't on the previous episode, so let's do it again.
2 hours,
so it could be
58. Let's go.
it could be that something about the Forests of Hell is unique, and that's why people, from the homeland only started spawning shades when they got there. Or it could be that, that's where shades first were and they got there. Cantico is weird.
Yeah.
Maybe it is possible that even in the Forests of Hell, sometimes you die and spawn a shade.
I think that could be the case. I think
Yeah.
that could be the case. For sure.
And so
Yeah.
it's not that everyone who dies in the Forests of Hell from mundane means doesn't, and everyone who dies on Canticle does. It's that fraction here, fraction there.
Okay.
And, even a single shade, like on Canticle, even a single unbound shade is dangerous because one can start a chain reaction.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe, and I know I talked about this on the Threnody episode, that the deepest ones, not to be confused with the fused, is different. That's a different kind of deepest one, just to be clear.
Probably.
The OG deepest ones.
I feel like Brandon might retcon that name of the ones on Threnody. He might do that. I would be okay with that, to be honest.
It's easy, just say the deepest ones and those one of the depths or the deep.
Yeah, yeah. I don't remember their singer name for the brand.
Oh, what are they?
But
it's not Chattel. Chattel are the skaters.
Yeah,
yes. It's not McKayam. I think those were the masked ones, right?
Those are those
ones
are the
masked
masks.
ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
If only we had some kind of
or
encyclopedia.
We should do that sometime.
It's possible that the deepest ones. I think on that episode I was thinking
it's McKayam. It is McKayam.
Oh, because the masked ones are the Mavestim.
Mavsetim.
Yeah. Okay. Good. I'm glad we had this irrelevant talk on this swap that has nothing to do with it. I think this is good. But the deepest ones could have been people who just had a higher threshold of that innate investiture, become a shade that spread through whoever was there on that continent, and then that continent turned to crap. And I think in that previous episode, I was thinking they were some patient zero, but I don't know if I said the mechanism. And so I could go with that mechanism.
Hear me out.
Okay.
Shades equals evil breath, right? Or deepest ones equal evil returned.
Whoa! Grace is cooking.
There we go.
Then we can get our Cosmere vampires even more explicitly, because returned are kind of like that. And so then the deepest ones can be our vampires, and that would be very spooky for Threnody. Nailed it.
Well, we have returned on Roshar.
Yeah.
In a way. So why not?
I mean, we do have returned on Roshar.
Yeah.
We're not wrong.
I thought that's what you were literally referring to. Funny. Okay. I kind of like that. And maybe Naz knows the deepest one. Maybe those are the people who had the rights, and that's how Naz knew about it. Maybe
that would be legitimately cool.
That could make that's possible.
Maybe there's the deepest ones were the first shades that Ambition taught to the rights to in order to make more of them, but that knowledge got lost or something, or it's not used, and then the shades started overrunning the Forest of Hell.
I don't know how much time
Ambition had the time to make use of beforehand.
She was a little busy.
I think that was a drive-by shooting.
Okay, hold on. Let's go this way then. Let's say
good.
Instead, we have the original people who did the rights and retained, their awareness and their cognitive selves, I guess.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then someone messed up the rights.
Sure.
And so you got someone who did not still have that cognitive self, kind of lost control of themselves, and ended up being almost more like a zombie-ish.
Yeah, but why? If you are already doing rights to remain stable after death, then all you need to not remain stable is not do the rights. You don't need bad rights for that. You just need no rights.
Another crackpot theory.
Great.
The Rhythm of War epigraphs that mention Mercy.
Yes.
Mention her in context of being involved with the conflict between Ambition and
That
Odium?
is a great question.
I
believe
that's true.
I mean, yes, that's just the extent of what we know.
Yeah, okay.
She was involved. That's it.
she was involved. So like maybe like she cleaned up a little afterwards. It was like, oh, okay. Looked at Threnody like, oh, all you are screwed. I'm gonna teach some people some rights to like maybe fix this, and then I'm gonna leave. So maybe like that's where the rights came from.
So just I like Mercy's involvement. Here's the quote. That said, the most worrying thing I discovered in this was the wound upon the spiritual realm, where ambition, mercy, and odium clashed, and ambition was destroyed. The effects on the planet Threnody have been disturbing. So that definitely sounds like the Nell, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like this is so not the battle at Threnody that Mercy came in wherever the Nell was. That's the wound on the spiritual realm. Which
surely,
right, surely. So that's interesting. You know, I like some. I will say, Mercy being involved and helping Threnodites. I guess Mercy just has that, puritanical name sort of thing that I'm like, that thematically that works really well for me.
I don't hate it.
I didn't think about that, but yeah.
It's like I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest.
Yeah.
I know that's going off the name, which is not much, but yeah. I think the only issue with any of this is why Homelanders didn't become Shades at all. If it's like a threshold thing, I think I do need some mechanical reason for that.
Just we need a Threnody book.
Yes, anything.
Yeah, because like we're going off of scraps at this point.
We're going.
Yeah.
We are so parched in the desert, guys. So parched. Anyway, why don't we go on to this next question, which
the
actually gets
question.
To which
also
gets to the actual thing that we were supposed to talk about, rather than what this was.
So, Reader Warrior, I don't remember if this was a follow up to the previous question, but it certainly feels like one.
It was later. It was later.
Well, I mean, follow up as in
sure.
By it.
Yeah.
But they ask, what is the difference between anti-investiture and negative investiture? Here's what Brandon says.
Yeah.
What we are calling negative investiture is almost all exclusively a warping of the death of ambition. Anti-investiture is very, very similar thing, but it is man-made. And they have similar functions. But the negative investiture is mostly self-aware in a weird way. The anti-investiture built by Navani is functionally the same, but not self-aware, not necessarily from ambition. And that's the distinction in my mind right now. But we'll let the Arcanists drill me down on, there's Argent flipping out.
What were you flipping out? What did you do?
I said, what?
In all caps.
A justified reaction to what he just said, which is like,
I just feel like calling it flipping out is painting a different picture than the one word reaction that I typed in chat.
Okay.
Anyway, he might have a different definition, and maybe the team of Arcanists might convince me that I should use a different definition.
Okay. I would like to point out for the record that I'm sure that giant beam that they were shooting at the Dequara was not
negative,
self-aware in any way.
Yeah.
And that seemed to be the thing's alignment or whatever. It's like try negative. They were totally using it synonymously.
Yes.
I could imagine that Brandon can want a distinction in that way. Sure.
But it's so unnecessary, right? Because we don't call Spren beings of positive investiture and Stormlight investiture. Like it is like the distinction between self-aware investiture and not self-aware investiture does not exist in the world of regular / positive investiture. So it is unnecessary in the world of negative / anti-investiture. It is just anti-investiture that is not self-aware, and anti-investiture that is self-aware, aka negative investiture that is not self-aware, and negative investiture that is. Like, we don't need to make this into a thing.
The way that I am thinking about this is, like, yes, the self-awareness is clearly part of it, but I'm thinking about it like diamonds. Like, diamonds mined from the ground and diamonds made in a lab are functionally the same.
Yeah.
But I think people still find value in, like, separating them when they talk about it and specifying which.
Sure.
When something is. So I can understand, like, that perspective, kind of a similar thing happening where it's like, okay, there is value in saying, hey, there's a pocket of negative investiture just out there in the world that formed naturally versus we are making this in a lab. And I think there's potentially value in like, having a way to separate those things when talking about it.
Yes, I agree with everything you've said. Because, like, it's like the vibes of the two things are different. Like, there is a distinction to be made, but also you need, like, Brandon needs to acknowledge that, like, but there really isn't. Like, this is a box that's being imposed of, like, which it may be a box that has value.
Sure.
But, like, having a special name for the negative investiture created in Ambition's death, there's value in having a name for that. We already have one. It's the evil, but scientists
probably don't want to use that. Yeah.
Don't want to just call things the evil. So, like, this is basically in-world Arcanists saying, like, we're coming up with a better name than the evil so we can talk scientifically. And I was like, sure, whatever. But really, they're synonyms.
I'd agree with that.
I agree as well. I think there's just no way. I can see you getting, like, purified investiture from the door, but you're not going to go up to one of the entities and be like, I'm going to harvest your negative investiture to put in my beam weapon. That's just not that. There's no way that that's what's happening in the space age. 0%. Yeah. Clearly, they just have the mechanical way of doing that that Navani created.
Hey, there are different tiers of entity. We know they're different categories. Maybe they just captured a really small one.
It's just a negative investor, very large spend.
Yeah.
I can see the value in, but, like, call it natural versus artificial or whatever, right? We have
exactly. Yeah. Like, that's what the distinction should be.
Brandon points at the self-awareness as the differentiating factor here, and that's not it.
Yeah. In-world Arcanists disagree on this matter.
I mean,
out-of-world ones do too.
So I don't know. Maybe we can fix that in the 10th anniversary edition of Isles of the Emberdark.
I'll be honest. I think Brandon's mostly spitballing here that he's wanting a distinction, and I do think like the stuff from Ambition. I do think it's fair that you would want that to be special. And you'd need some word for that. I don't think that's unreasonable because it does seem to be a bit different, but
and
proposal.
Okay.
Like, in-world, like, Arcanists came up with, like, yes, negative investiture means this very specific thing, and everybody else is like, no, that's stupid. We're just going to use them as synonyms.
I think there is something to the idea of, and I don't know if Brandon wants it to be this way, but I can imagine a world where the anti-investiture or negative investiture created as a result of Ambition's death is a little bit different than, so in other words, you take an entity type 1/6, you take well, maybe the Quara is a bad example because she has other things going on, but, like, you take one of the entities, right? Negative investiture entities, and then you take a huge, like, shade which if we believe that they are made of regular investiture, right? And you flip the shade in the same way that Navani flips Void Light to anti-Void Light. You flip the shade to be made of anti-ambitions investiture.
Okay.
I think there is something to the idea of, well, the two are not the same. Again, I don't know if that is factual, but I can imagine.
Yeah.
Hypotheticals, right?
That was what I was having issue with too.
I can imagine that the exact circumstances around like the death or the splintering of ambition and the formation of the entities and the Evo and things like that, like because of the like there is a thing about Odium removing ambition's intent, which is weird. There is like ambition herself. Like I think we've talked about, maybe ambition like imparted some like will onto these, because like we see them seem to hate life when when the one interacts with Starling and stuff like that. So like there is a plausible argument to be made that they are not just investiture that's being flipped. It like there is weird stuff going on in there as well.
But like, isn't that just? I'm thinking of like properties of investiture wise. Like I hear all what you're saying, and I do agree that there's probably some differences, and like maybe it was commanded, that investiture was commanded in a certain way, and so imparts like has some stuff onto what we would normally call anti-investiture. But like still, at least the part that's anti-investiture, I think that part works exactly the same. Like you could theoretically impose any anti-investiture to kind of do what this negative investiture is doing.
Right, sure.
Right.
Like, what I'm saying
like
is
you could do something similar with positive investiture.
I'm saying maybe negative is like anti-investiture plus a little bit more.
Yeah, that's how I'm saying it.
Sure.
It is anti-investiture that has a negative attitude about life.
Sure.
See, honestly, I just thought negative investiture was because anti-investiture is a little clunky in prose. I'll be totally honest.
Same.
That's what I thought was happening.
I could see a world where we're using the same nomenclature, because I really think this is just an issue of nomenclature.
This is 100% a nomenclature issue.
Yeah. So I could see a world where instead we just use it as a kind of using the formatting of biochromatic entities, but have it change depending on which shard the investiture is coming off of. And then you could say anti-biochromatic entity, which would refer to like an anti-investiture version of an endowment piece of investiture. Does that make sense? Or like endowment as
No. And I think the reason I'm lost is because you took a very sharp left when you said biochromatic.
Yes.
And I was not ready for that
I
term.
was also not ready for that sharp left. That is true.
And so
So
I missed our
this.
exit.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
I love this terminology. I love this version of nomenclature really works for me. So if we take biochromatic, right? And instead we say bio ambition, something similar, right? So you get an entity based off of ambition.
So
And then you could just add
hold up.
anti.
Back up. Why are we talking biochromatic right now?
Biochromatic in terms of nomenclature. So if we're talking about having an issue with the nomenclature, going off of that basis for nomenclature.
Because we have negative investiture entities and we have biochromatic entities, I think is where she's coming from.
It's not just entity to entity. It's more the biochromatic version of explaining different types of entities seems to work really well for differentiating them.
So you were going to Vasher's classification of investiture beings.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so using that kind of classification, except with anti-investiture beings.
Which I'm assuming like Vash, because like the 5, 4.
And he says, but I was wrong.
Yeah.
Well, no, in Warbreaker there are 4. That's what that's the point I'm making. Because later on he's like, we're throwing out that system, we're coming up with something new. And I think like that system is what eventually grows and expands and gets to like type 1/6.
I agree.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's like the stumbling block is like, well, like biochromatic entity like isn't a valid term anymore that they're using.
Yeah.
It's just subsumed into a greater system.
It's a legacy term for, you know, types 1/1, 1/2, 3/1, and 4/2, or, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
So then taking that and just applying it to this instead of using negative investiture being, which I guess we kind of do with the entity classification.
Well, so
I mean, it is.
Yeah.
Interestingly, and admittedly, Starling in this quote clearly does not know the nomenclature, but I do think this has some value. That's not some creature from your mythology, Starling said. It's what we call a negative investiture entity, type 3, type 2, shards, Ed knows. Anyway, a long time ago when shards were newly born, one named Odium attacked and killed his sibling. A god was destroyed, torn apart, its intent removed, and its pieces made into some kind of terrible negative energy. They roam the Emberdark seeking souls to consume. So like they do use like negative in this way.
It's
earlier Ed just calls it a type 1/6 negative investiture entity.
Yeah.
It's so dumb, but I think I have landed on liking negative is for beings that are self-aware because they have a negative attitude, and anti-investiture is for other man-made things because it isn't self-aware and therefore doesn't have any attitude. And until we get a better explanation, that's my justification for this.
Yeah.
I guess the thing is like a lot of the I just had to look up negative investiture in these instances in Emberdark. Like they talk about if that negative investiture touches our souls and things, and like a lot of these things are just the same mechanical things that would happen with anti-investiture in the way Brandon's saying this. So I don't know. I don't really think this.
So except those beings have a negative attitude and actively seek to destroy life. That's the difference.
Yeah. We're just seeing a Scadrian term versus a Rosharan term here. Rosharans use anti, Scadrians use negative.
Surely someone from Silver like Ed would not fall to these biases despite his religion.
He literally worships a Scadrian.
Yeah. Well, but he's the only shard that's separate from the
Harlem Shake, as we've discussed. We've discussed.
I would like to submit an additional piece of evidence to this conversation.
Okay.
And it is from Stormlight, where we see anti-investiture, where consistently, whenever a human is interacting with anti-Stormlight specifically, they feel like, I wouldn't call it hostility, but they feel wrongness.
Yeah, it does feel wrong to them.
Yeah.
And so there is perhaps something to the idea that anti-investiture, negative investiture is like the antithesis. You know, I wouldn't call it like an enemy, but like this idea that the negative investiture entities we see in Emberdark hate life and stuff like that, that doesn't have to be, like, that seems innate or a consequence of anti-investiture itself, not something that is unique to the evil.
Like, I would disagree. That, like, I don't think there is a malice to the feeling that anti-light gives. Like, it's just like it's your body reacting to like like your body is recognizing like that's bad, like that will have an adverse effect on me. Whereas like negative investiture entities like actually want to kill you.
Like a comparison might be the body's reaction to like the smell of rotting food. It's like an innate disgust that is bad for me reaction rather than getting like the food doesn't want to kill you, it just is.
Sure, but like a sphere of anti-void light or anti-storm light is not sapient. It cannot want. And so like I'm saying if we build on top, maybe if you left a bunch of anti-stormlight alone for a very long time, so it develops a sentience on its own, I'm saying maybe it will also want to kill.
That makes sense to me.
I don't think it would.
I don't necessarily think it would. I think people are sensing wrongness because like sapience is coming from the innate investiture in their souls, and they're used to that. And so it's like this weird thing that's like, it's almost like uncanny valley-ish, like, right, where it's like it's close to being the same thing, but it's like very not, and so it's very weird.
It's like specifically like the tone that like is being expressed like in the Anti-Light is running counter to the tone like being expressed like in their innate investiture.
And it's like, I don't like that.
There's just like a natural like clashing there.
Yeah.
And it's being like the human or like the fuse like is interpreting that like as a sense of wrongness.
Mm-hmm.
So this reminds me a lot of how they talk about animating this movie that I don't know that anybody really knows about, KPDH.
Oh, yeah.
They talk about the animation there for the demons versus everyone else, and the demons are just a little bit off.
Well, yeah, it's because
that immediately has the sense of wrongness of like they're not in the same animation. I don't know.
Yeah, because the demons had every frame and everyone else had every other frame. I think, yeah.
Yeah, so it's that same sense of like playing with the wrongness of this doesn't match. And I can't necessarily point out why without looking at it, but there's a sense of wrongness there.
Sure. I think in theory, it's perfectly possible that you're right, Argent. I just think it's also plausible that you could create life. Like, say you had a shard and all of that shard's investiture was flipped to being anti-investiture. Okay, let's say that happened. And then that shard decided to create something like Scadrial. And then they decided to put souls into those humans. I think that would just work normally, and I think would be fine. And I think those people would feel a revulsion to regular investiture for the exact same reason. And all of that would work exactly the same.
Yeah. The thing that comes down to it for me is like regular investiture entities can be bloodthirsty and like want to kill people.
Yeah, that's
so like the inverse must be true for negative investiture. Like there can be chill negative investiture entities. It's just like the ones Ambition made like are all super mad about it.
They're really bad. They have the command. Now, I will say there is something interesting in the Cosmere that I think could lead credence to what Argent is saying, because ultimately, like, so in our world, we're trying to figure out in the physics sense, why is there matter and not just equal matter, antimatter, right? There's a symmetry breaking. In the Cosmere, we also have it's not symmetrical at all, because it seems like the spiritual realm is like just straight up made of, regular investiture, right? And
well,
also,
in the same way that our universe is made of regular matter, right?
Yeah. And same with like the cognitive realm, like there's that investiture in the cognitive realm that's like, moving around. So like all of that is all positive investiture. And so that could be a thing that, say, if when Adonalcium created all things and like life and things, it was designed around positive investiture, and that would be just very hard to recreate with negative investiture. Like to get all of those things to work there. And so maybe positive investiture is sort of keyed to life in a way. I know that I don't like that.
I was gonna say my initial reaction to that was surely ad nauseam itself was positive investiture, but I feel like this is not a discussion we maybe want
I
to
think
get
that's
into.
100% true. That has to be the case.
Yes.
That has to be the case.
Yeah.
That 100% has to be the case.
Now, Cosmere, Satan, Aiden Nalzium's opposite.
Aiden Nalzium's opposition?
Negative investiture.
There we go.
The force that opposed Aiden Nalzium, which is probably
The force
just
that opposed Aiden Nalzium.
which is probably just
Really
this
weird.
conspiracy of like these few people with Dawn Shards to kill Aiden Nalzium. Probably that, but Cosmere Satan.
We're partying like it's 2008, baby.
No. The force that opposed Aiden Nalzium. This is definitely a 2010s thing that I repeatedly asked Brandon about. Good sir.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. I don't feel like we can get anything about like positive investiture being inherently better for life if like Adenalcium itself was just making things out of the same stuff it was made out of. Like,
Well,
I don't think.
Sure. I think more I'm thinking of how does a theoretical human created from anti-investiture, they would have a physical, cognitive, spiritual aspect. And I just don't know how some of that being negative investiture interacts with a purely or mostly purely positive investiture like spirit other realms. Does that make sense?
The anti-spiritual realm.
But we have
Anti-spiritual realm.
Instead of stacking up, it stacks down.
Like in
The secular realm.
they just interact in the same way the evil does. I don't know how that is, but like the
Yeah,
evil
yeah.
exists in the world, so I don't know.
And like the spiritual realm surely has the possibilities of negative investiture in there, right?
Like
I don't know,
feel
it's
like
weird.
The anti-investiture soul is theoretically possible if the evil can exist without immediately exploding.
Yeah, that's true. That's certainly true.
Like
Those entities are just in Shadesmar, right? And they're not walking explosions.
Yeah. I like it. The spiritual realm, like that makes sense to me because there's in like the true spiritual realm and not just like a construct within it. Like there is no space, so like you like things aren't actually touching there.
Sure. True.
So it's like sure.
Paul exclusion principle.
It's only
does not
like
apply.
when you like impose like physical realm constraints.
Sure.
Stuff can touch it.
Sure.
Then
sure.
it would act like it does in the physical realm.
Okay.
The cognitive realm, I'm like, it's close enough to the physical. It's just going to operate like it does in the physical.
Yeah. I would be interested in the thought experiment of, okay, if there was a sufficiently powerful anti-investiture being nearly shard level or shard level that created just like anything, like a tree.
Yeah.
Is that tree different? And like, it is possible that there is a difference. That would be an experiment I would be interested in seeing, right?
Yeah.
It's like I think that gets into like a rock, like so like iron mined on Scadrial versus iron mined on Roshar.
Yeah.
Technically, like if you look in the spiritual realm, there would be a difference because like this metal wasn't made from the investiture of ruin and preservation.
Yeah.
This investiture was made by Aiden Nalzium himself.
Sure.
More or less. But like in any like physical sense, like it's
matter is matter.
Yeah.
Matter is
But
matter.
this is assuming that anti-investiture doesn't just make antimatter.
I mean, theoretically, I see no reason why a regular shard couldn't make antimatter. That's very easy to do in physics. It happens all the time.
Okay.
That's not unusual. You're being bombarded by antimatter all the time. It's just very tiny and it doesn't matter. That's what happens. Yeah. Happens all the time.
Face the antimatter.
It tickles me funny that antimatter doesn't matter. Just as a turn of phrase.
I didn't say it first.
So I was also thinking about something similar to what Ian was saying with the rocks, where I'm like, well, a human made by preservation and ruin versus a human made by, I don't know, endowment. A human is a human. Like, the fact that those two people were created from different shards is largely irrelevant. Like, yeah, innate investiture and nonsense like that, but a human is a human, right?
Yeah.
And so
within boundaries, yes. Because like they're like genetic differences, but like it's the same species.
Yeah.
Immaterial. Anti-investiture. Right. So human made of by one shard, human made of another shard. What's the difference there? The difference is the shard that made them, right? It is the intent of the investiture that made them. What is the difference between Stormlight and Anti-Stormlight? It is the phase, if you will, of the intent of the investiture. And so
polarity.
Maybe. At the end of the day, and maybe there's something to be said about, well, anti is different, but we might just be looking at a different expression of investiture.
Yeah,
okay, but like,
so in other words, it is opposite in some ways, but it is not like so inherently opposite that it's it's Cosmere Satan, right? It's it's still investiture. It still behaves like investiture, right? The Quara is subject to perception, and you can blast it with positive and negative investiture and stuff like so. Like, investiture is investiture in the same way that matter is matter, right? And you can have an expression of investiture that has like some properties that are different. But we already have that because we already have different like intents of investiture. So like, anti-investiture might be more different than opposite, even though we call it anti.
Yeah.
And just this has reminded me in Wind and Truth, like, as long as you're not actively breathing in Stormlight, you can be stabbed with all the anti-Stormlight in the world and it won't kill you. Right? Like, Shallan, there's that moment in I think in day 1 or whatever, where Shallan is like fighting the Ghostbloods, and she breathes out her Stormlight because she's like, my instinct is to take this in to protect me, but that is what is going to kill me if I do that. And she's fine. So
I do think it's possible that there could be a sufficient amount of anti-Stormlight that could destroy someone's soul without breathing it in. That's possible. It may or may not be the case.
Like, the thing there is that, like, the knife is introducing the anti-Stormlight to her body. So it's like, if she inhaled any Stormlight, the Stormlight would be in her body. It would mutually annihilate and she would explode. It's not getting into her soul. Like, the physical knife is not injecting it into her soul.
Yeah, I think you would need to find like something like a shard blade that pierces the realms to introduce,
or a spike.
Or a spike or like something that can inherently pierce the realms to get the anti-light into the soul. So I guess if you have like a similar thing but switched, like, unless there's, I don't know.
But like, then why are the entities killing souls then?
Say that again, Eric.
Why are the entities killing souls then?
because they're bigger and more powerful than a knife.
Well, that's
I
what I'm
think they
saying.
might be-
You could have a sufficiently high amount of anti. That's exactly
Yes.
what I'm saying.
That's like if I toss you into the sun, the light will burn.
It's
Incinerate
just
you.
you guys are making
like,
it sound like that that the knife. There's no quantity of anti-storm light that could destroy the soul, and that could be the case. I don't believe that is the case.
Well, we do see.
I think the difference here is it's not the interaction between the two types of investiture. It's just there's so much of the investiture that it's just too much to tolerate.
Yeah,
Well,
I think that's probably the case.
Do recall when they kill the enlightened spren of the two Ghostbloods of Mraze and Yatil, like they stick him full of anti-void light and it burns away their void half, essentially.
It's been too long since I've read Written Truth.
Yeah, it's been too long.
Yeah, so we are left with like half a cryptic. Or maybe half.
And that wasn't
I don't
just
remember which.
because it was insufficient. Like it ran out. Okay.
No, it didn't run out. It's like you put anti-void light in a spren that is half and half, and the anti-void light and the void light half of the spren cancel each other.
So, Grace, was your point that maybe the negative investiture entities are different in a categorical way to destroy souls, and whereas anti-stormlight created in this artificial way is not?
I mean, I don't see why. I don't think there is any reason that couldn't be true. Like, maybe there is something mechanical about the evil that's like the way it has developed. It can,
Reach into souls.
you know, it like reach
Sure.
like shard blades can cut souls. Maybe it's
Sure.
just like there's enough investiture and it has developed in a way that it can actually reach through the soul, and that is what it is doing,
Sure,
rather
okay.
than just being in the physical realm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I worked myself around to just saying I prefer Ed's way of calling it a Type 1/6 Threnodite entity over negative investiture.
Well, I mean, he does say that it's a being of almost pure negative investiture in the same paragraph that he says it's a Type 1/6. So he is using, like, he's
Gotcha.
not having a distinction between those, right?
So rephrasing that then, I just prefer calling it a Type 1/6. It seems more specific, whereas
Well,
negative
that's-
seems more generalized.
Yes, but like Type 1/6 doesn't encompass all of the evil, was the impression I had. Like there are
Yeah.
gradations within the evil
Mm-hmm.
that are part of the grand categorization of investiture entities.
Yeah.
And that's where I said Type 1/6 and similar-ish.
I understand that, but also, like, from a writing perspective, it's sort of inherently more specific because it is only defined by this one example we have. We don't actually know what it means. Like,
No,
Exactly.
there's no definition. I will also say, Argent, that I do agree that positive or negative alignment, that's the word Deja uses in Emberdark.
Yeah.
That, or positive aligned, negative aligned, or whatever. I agree that is just like a different kind of flavoring of investiture. Like, matter has properties, has a lot of physical properties we can measure. One of those is charge, right? And so I'm not saying that this is charge for investiture, but like it's a property that investiture can have. And that doesn't mean it is not investiture. It just has a different thing associated with it. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I do think it's possible that could have some interesting effects if you create stuff with it. I think it probably wouldn't. I think these...
Unless it's narratively satisfying that it would.
Yeah.
That's all.
Exactly.
Like, could there be stuff that happens if you make stuff out of it? Yes. Could that stuff also not happen with positive investiture? it's like,
Yeah.
there could be stuff, but like that stuff could probably happen with regular investiture too, in like certain circumstances.
Yeah. Sorry, I just had a glimpse through my mind of imagining a planet with both life created with positive investiture and negative investiture and competing ecologies, and that led me to the question of what if the Fane are made of negative investiture?
Would the Fane?
Whoa. I don't think that's true. Just to be clear.
I mean though.
No.
That's honestly where my mind went when thinking of Threnody earlier, is having the two competing. You've got the Forest of Hell, you got the mainland.
Okay. Yeah.
You've also got, you have the silver circles that are protecting the inns, and likewise you have the towns that are protected in Partnell.
Oh, that is true. That is true.
Yeah.
That's
the Troon rings.
Exactly.
Yes.
No longer canonical.
You used the word flavor to describe positive versus negative, and so my mind went, well, clearly positive is sweet and negative is spicy. And then I went, well, clearly positive is the female flavor that investiture, and negative is the male investiture.
I mean, it is actually. Is this true? Oh yeah. Well,
the Troon thing. Troon's gone.
No,
It's
sorry,
Fane
I'm
and-
looking at a particle physics thing. Flavor is a actual physical thing in particles. That's a property. That thing.
Yeah, I was trying to, because I always remember that color is one of them, but
Yeah, but it's not real color. Yeah, I do.
Troon lives on so long as it lives in the hearts of men. It lives on in my heart.
And this
Look,
podcast
maybe-
will continue to talk about Fane life and Troon life, even though we don't know any of what that means. Anyway, Troon was like regular, like the regular ecology, and then in Lyre, the other stuff was Fane, and presumably Shodell are Fane and stuff. Although I don't think they ever appeared in the Lyre of Partnell stuff.
We just saw a freaky looking deer.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Who knows? Maybe the Shodell are the anti-investiture created beings.
No.
That is a well, because like the dragons are coming from Brandon said are Fane, and it seems pretty clear that they are made of positive investiture in Emberdark. I would say that's very clear. But
yeah.
Oh, and just yes.
I was gonna say question 3 times.
I did yes. I did want to just circle back to the Threnody negative investiture thing, just real quick, that we do have in Emberdark that Danger is saying that Nas will die to negative investiture, just like any shade. I think that is strong evidence that the shades are not made of negative investiture.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
And also, I am going to continue using negative and anti-investiture completely synonymously because I don't think there's actually a categorical difference. And so don't at me in the comments. Just to be clear, I'm not making this arbitrary distinction that Brandon's making.
No, I think that's a silly distinction.
Yeah. Cool. Well, we're at an hour 18 on the podcast. Grace, question 3.
Maybe we'll this is a special WoB episode that is not really a WoB episode and is just like negative investiture episode.
Yeah,
Look,
yeah. Oh, I mean, that was my intent.
Negative investiture questions. We can get through those before the end.
Yeah.
of the episode, right?
Literally, last time we were recording them, I'm like, oh, we should group all these. It should be an episode. So I was like, that's what we're doing. It was planned. This part was actually planned.
Yeah,
it's new, but old of design.
I don't have faith that we will go much past these next 2 questions.
I don't
this
either.
next one was asked by Javier Guzunz.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, Javier Guzunz.
Yeah. Of course.
Okay. Can anti-breaths be created? If so, what would happen to a drab who receives an anti-breath? Would they return to a normal state? Brandon, anti-breaths could be created. Anti-breaths touching a real investiture would have explosive ramifications. I don't think you would get what you want out of that. Okay, so first, I want to...
Yeah, no.
I'm just going to say, what if what I want is an excluded person?
Good point.
I want to, before we get into this, say how this does not invalidate what we were saying earlier.
No,
because drabs have regular investiture in their soul cell.
Yep. Just less.
Yeah, this makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah.
So,
all checks out.
This does not say that you can't have a person whose soul is entirely anti-investiture with an anti-investiture breath who would explode if they got a regular breath. That is still
I think that's all true.
an open question.
Yes.
And like breath kind of bridges the physical and the spiritual, because like it's transferred like physically, and it's like I think it's been grouped with like gaseous investiture in the past. Like there's
that's
like
true.
a physical aspect to it, but like it's still like interfacing with your soul.
Yeah, but
so
the Stormlight.
Yeah. Not
so do the mists.
Same way.
I mean, not in the same way, but it's still, you know, a thing that you can see in the physical, like it interacts with photons and stuff like that. But when you breathe it in, like you can make use of it magically, spiritually. Like it doesn't like, integrate into. It's not the same thing, but breath is not unique in this regard.
Like no, but it's like Stormlight's not interfacing with your soul when you use it to surge find.
Stormlight is generally a bit more leaky, though.
Yes, it's kinetic investiture that's being used as part of a system, like the investiture like that's being pulled to like power allomancy. Like I don't like is that interfacing with your soul? Maybe.
I mean,
yes,
it kind of is because
like,
savantism. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. But like
it's involved, but like it's not like integrated in, right? Yeah. I think that's what you mean.
Like, do Stormlight savants exist?
Well,
yes,
I mean,
because
soulcasters.
that's what soulcasters are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
okay. Yeah.
What I would say is that this is more similar to a radiant attempting to breathe in and hold anti-light rather than just being stabbed with a knife and having it like physically pushed through the body.
Agreed.
Also, I have a question.
Yes.
If you feel ecstasy from regular breaths, what do you think in that moment before you explode you would feel if you got like a whole chunk of anti-breaths?
I mean, I don't think you'll be feeling much. I feel like you'd feel of similar like discordance and discomfort as you're being exploded, as your soul is evaporating before you. Right? I feel like that's what would happen. Just like a very potent, like discordant wrongness, and then the pain of your soul annihilating.
Depends on the person. I think some people would still get a kick out of that.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
I want to take this in a slightly different direction.
Okay.
And I don't know if this is what Javier Gumps means here. But there is references in Warbreaker about how breath is like aligned to life and things.
Okay.
And I wonder if what Javier is getting at is that it seemed like the entities seemed antithetical to life. And so maybe that's where this question was coming from. Now, I'm not sure breath is unique in this regard, because I feel like investiture tends to just be like kind of connected with life. Yeah. So I don't think that's exclusive to breath, but I wondered if that was what this question was getting at.
Yeah, like this being like a more like this is just a broader investiture thing, like also underscores with like the effects of heightenings being similar to holding a dawn shard, of like, because we see Risen have like enhanced color perception, like and like that sort of thing. So yeah,
my impression is that this is simply a misunderstanding of how drabs work.
That is actually probably more what this is about. Yeah, for sure.
Can you have something that is completely devoid of positive investiture soul?
I think
probably.
assuming you could somehow isolate an anti-breath and do this without first breathing it in, could you make a lifeless powered by an anti-breath?
I feel like the corpse that would become the lifeless still has enough of their like spiritual corpse.
It has a little bit
to them.
There's like
it has
residue.
a little bit.
Our steel's probably weird in this regard, but
our steel, like I believe, was also awakened with his own breath, or like, there's something about awakening a lifeless with their own breath, like does introduce weirdness.
Yeah. Okay,
there is a little bit to that, but like when someone dies, their spiritual aspect. I mean, look at dragons, right? And dragons are a weird case, but like I did ask a while back on Reddit about like the stages of death in the Cosmere, because we do have like the physical body dying, but then the cognitive aspect sticks around for a little bit, and it can stick around for a long time. But then the cognitive aspect can move on to the beyond, or whatever. But the spiritual aspect is the dead are still. They like time is immaterial in the spiritual realm, and so the fact that you are dead today doesn't mean that you've stopped existing, and so like your soul is your spirit web is still in some capacity, except like there's a spiritual corpse in there, and that's gotta be still connected to the fact that this was your spirit, your physical corpse. And so if you are trying to stick an anti-breath into but through a physical corpse into like the soul of that, like that soul is still positive investiture, and so the anti-breath would interact negatively and explosively with that.
How bad would it be, though?
It blows the corpse. It's fine.
That's also like you hold anti-investiture in like regular gems. I don't know. I feel like there has to be a line somewhere. Like I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
But like the thing with like holding it in gems, like it's not interacting with the gem soul.
Yeah.
So it's just like the breath you use to awaken a lifeless interfacing with like whether or not the soul is still attached, or like really like awakening anything.
Sure. Yeah.
It still has a spiritual aspect. Like, is it purely interacting with like the physical substance of the thing, or is it interfacing with the soul? And like that's a mechanism of awakening. We don't really know where that boundary is.
Okay, I feel like this contradicts some things I've said previously.
Great.
But I'm not.
That's fine. I support you.
That
never stops me.
Stormlight in a gem doesn't interact with the gem's soul, because I feel like we have WoBs about saying like the light you're seeing in Stormlight gems is like the spiritual realm. Like you're not seeing.
Yeah,
I have to look it up, but we have WoBs about like no, like that you're seeing into the. There's like coming from the spiritual realm in some way.
Yeah, that's true. In that the physical light you're seeing isn't the energy that you're grabbing, right? So
I need to search this.
I feel like that's not talking about the gem's soul. Whereas like when you're awakening, like say I'm awakening cloth, I feel like we're commanding it and we're giving it some spiritual oomph to do stuff. Right?
I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you find the quote?
I have found the WoB. It's a Shadows of Self Chicago sighting.
Hey.
Popular one. And it's talking about like perfect gems and blah 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 blah. And Brendan is like, would a flawless gem still give off light? Brendan, well, actually, it would still give off life because it is drawing out of the spiritual realm. So I'd say it lights, but it doesn't leak. The leaking is not where the illumination is coming from. The illumination is coming from indirect. It's basically a light bulb screwed into the spiritual realm.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I guess I'm wondering, like, okay, if you have a cloth there's a very slight spiritual aspect to it, right? Everything does. If I awaken it with an anti-breath,
there is one.
Does anything happen? I would say that'd probably be fine. I think a lifeless, that could immediately fail and destroy the corpse enough that it is not useful.
Yes, and like in that instance, like in the OG classification, like those are separate entities. So it's like there being like a boundary there where like, yeah, you can use negative investiture to awaken a thing, like a thing. Awakening a lifeless is like a separate boundary.
There is a difference between using investiture, positive or negative, to puppeteer an object versus using investiture, positive or negative, to impart sentience or even sapience to a corpse.
And is this in the books, this distinction?
Yeah, I mean, that's the different types. Those are the biochromatic.
Yeah, lifeless are type 2, regular awakening is type 3.
Right, because like returned are not... When you awaken, return maybe are a hairy subject, but when you awaken a lifeless, we don't know the single command or single breath command that awakens a lifeless. But
do we not?
We know that exists, but not.
No, I don't think we know the command.
I don't think
it used to be that it required many breaths to awaken.
Yeah.
And then
I just thought like we saw Vasher do it.
No,
because we see him create the squirrel. Do we not get the command thing?
I don't think that's a lifeless.
No, wouldn't that be a lifeless?
Like the squirrel is a lifeless.
It would make sense for it to be lifeless, but I think his command.
The book called it a lifeless.
He says like run around and cause havoc or something like that.
Yeah,
But
because that's not the lifeless command for the armies.
Galad's fan.
The squirrel is a lifeless. Like, let's be real. It's a lifeless.
What is so? I guess like it's just like there's a line drawn between like puppeteering a thing and creating a lifeless, but like why can't you just puppeteer a corpse?
No, we do have a command. Awaken to my breath, he commanded, serve my needs, live at my command and my word. And then
is that for the squirrel?
This is for the squirrel. And then he says fallen rope as the security phrase. So okay, great.
Okay, so that does sound like it could be a legitimate lifeless.
No, that 100% sounds like yeah.
Okay.
And it does specifically say that it's a lifeless. Yeah.
What is the difference? I guess it's the level of like being able to act on your own will, or like
the difference is you can give you can modify like type 3, like you command it does one thing. A lifeless, you can like with like the passphrase, basically like you can give it multiple commands. You can say like no longer do that, do this.
Yeah,
so
it's
basic.
Right. There's more agency.
There's
more agency.
There's no reason why you couldn't just make the other version with using a corpse as the basis. It's just you just don't choose not to because it's just as easy to make a lifeless.
Yeah, it's like you could do that, but why would you when you could just make a lifeless? So yes, you could just puppeteer. Like you could just awaken a corpse to fetch keys. That's a waste of a corpse. So yeah, so like you could use like the negative breath to do that, but like just doing it to create a lifeless, I think it would fizzle and explode.
My take on this WoB is that there's an assumption being made that an anti-breath would do the same thing as a regular breath.
Yeah.
So I think that's why you get I don't think you would get what you want out of that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not in the drab sense.
Are you speaking to the function of, right? Because
just like what
investiture
would do.
Yeah, I think Investiture has two properties. Investiture has structure and it has function. And so the structure is this is shaped like a breath. And the function is breath versus anti, right?
Yeah. Also, they say in a later chapter that the squirrel was made using modern command words. So that's Also,
yeah, no,
I love
this makes sense.
I love this squirrel. It's so funny. Just run around, bite things that aren't me. It's so funny.
Warbreaker has a lot of really cool like command stuff. I really like
Yeah,
that.
it does.
Bite people who are not me.
It would be nice to get Nightblood the book at some point.
Yeah.
I don't know if he wouldn't be able to awaken with a breath with an anti-breath though.
Yeah,
because
like,
if
I think absolutely like regular.
It feels.
awakening.
Yeah, it feels very similar. The difference between awakening a rope and awakening a squirrel is just in both cases you're giving it a command. So in both cases you are like visualizing the intent and commanding the investiture, right? But you are commanding this investiture, this chunk of anti-breath, and maybe commanding anti-invest. Well, that doesn't matter. But you are commanding it to do a thing that you've imagined, and one is a simpler intent that you are imparting on it. The other one is, or maybe intent is the wrong word, but one is a simpler command. The other one is a more advanced command. In either way, you have to hold it in your brain, so that's dependent on you. And after you've done the command, it's the investiture is doing what you have commanded it to do.
One additional difference between type 3 and type 2, which is like regular awakening versus lifeless, is that regular awakening, you can yoink back the breath.
Yeah.
Like, lifeless, like you
It's
cannot do that. Like,
yeah.
And my theory on that is like, it's no longer like keyed to your identity. Like it's keyed to the identity of the corpse.
Something like that. Yeah, it would have to be
you're
something
basically
like that,
like,
right?
To create a lifeless, like you're kind of making a mind and a soul. In the body. Like using like the probably using the residue of what was already there. So it's like this, you can't reclaim it because like no, for the same reason like you can't take breaths from another person. It's like that's not how it works.
But you have a little lock around the identity field, and that's the passcode. And so then you can adjust, like kind of adjust a little bit of it command to it.
I like. Thank you for mentioning identity field. Not at all. Like that's not interacting with the identity at all.
Okay. That's fine. But
the lock is around the cognitive aspect at that point.
Okay.
Of like,
okay.
Because like the passphrase like doesn't allow you to take back.
No. That's certainly true. That's certainly true.
So it's like it's a separate thing.
Sure.
Yeah. The one like the command you are giving to the investiture leaves like a backdoor for anyone who knows of this backdoor to like come in and give additional commands.
Yeah. But you still can't grab the investiture.
But those additional commands don't include give me my stuff back.
Yeah.
It's more that like the command to create the lifeless, what Eric read earlier is a capital C command. It's like the run around and bite things is a lowercase c command. Like it's like because like the phrasing of commands is very exact.
Sure.
And I don't think like lifeless commands need to be as
exact. That's true. That's true.
It's like you can use like more like regular language with like
natural language. They have a natural language processor in them.
Well, because because we're like creating like a mind and it has some agency and it's it's it just has a low int score. You're a necromancer. I do think you could awaken with anti-breath. I think the only issue is you would need all awakening that we've seen has been breath that is attached onto you and on your soul. And so I think you would need like a device that can hold a thing and that you can will your command through. And if that technology exists, you can 100% use that. It just can't be attached to your soul, because then it's gone. Or at least that anti-breath and breath, you will lose both of them very quickly, and that will be bad, probably. So I think you can do that.
Yeah, it's like there's just like higher order problems with it. Base level, yes, this should be possible. If you can get into a situation where you could do it, it's like the problem is getting into that situation.
Yeah.
You should be able to live on this extraterrestrial planet. Is just, yes, there is the problem of getting there, but
there's a few others.
So I got curious because we were talking about Anti-Investiture and Awakening, and I think if it has been used anywhere so far, it's related to Nightblood, right? Like there's just the consuming of Investiture there. I feel like there's a connection there. So I looked up, and this actually comes from the same live stream.
Nice.
From the December 19, 2025, the questioner asked, "Is Nightblood made of Anti-Investiture?" And Brandon referred it. So we don't actually know whether or not there is some Anti-Investiture involved in that process, or if he somehow got turned into an Anti-Investiture. We have truly no idea anything about how Nightblood is created and why he is the way he is.
Clearly, they grabbed a part of Ruin's investiture and made that Anti-Investiture, and then that.
I mean, it's not impossible.
Well, no, it's because there was a WoB about Ruin.
Ruin is significantly involved in, what was like, is there a significant amount of Ruin investiture or something like that?
I don't remember.
It's like it could be Anti-Investiture. I don't think it is.
Like no explosions, right?
Because he is not mutually annihilating with the investiture he consumes. Like he consumes investiture.
But so does the Dakwara, right? Like, doesn't the Dakwara just like being around investiture, and it doesn't seem to be destroying her?
It does seem to like basking in its light. And then when they blast her with the intensifier, there's no explosion. We are told that the Maoish or the Arcanists have had success in the past with overloading negative investiture entities with one of the investiture types.
Because usually the explosion is like when it's like equal amounts, like it like vastly like inflates how much. But like if you drop like one drop of like negative investiture or
in an ocean,
it's just like the ocean isn't going to care.
Well, it's
like there was a mutual annihilation effect there. The ocean doesn't care. Likewise, like the Dakwara, like is there some canceling out there? Possibly. It's just like such a negligible, like the amount of investiture that the Dakwara is, it's like not affecting her.
Yeah. Well, it's like Eric said, we're being bombarded with antimatter at all times, right?
Exactly.
It's just
and also I don't know if these Dakwara, if the evil, have some conduit to the spiritual realm where they can replenish. I think that's an open question.
Possible. Like
it's possible part of her is, and she just has a way to like regenerate that bit, as long as it's not overwhelming.
Or like some sort of mechanism of like taking investiture and converting it into negative investiture. Entities could be weird. We don't know. But yeah, like they might still be plugged into Ambition's corpse somewhere.
Yeah, that's possible. Yeah, I think that's perfectly possible. I sent for it to try and deal with that entity outside. Some Arcanists have had luck overfeeding the things. I might be able to put it to sleep and get a team pass to the center. That's very Nightbloody, I'll say. Right?
Yeah, that is
in a
very
way,
Nightbloody.
right? Like, I'm not saying Nightblood is negative investor. I don't actually think that's the case, but there is kind of that aspect of Nightblood's full,
It's full.
I'm good, right? Which is interesting.
Yeah. And like just getting into the fact that like the Dakwara and like the entity we see earlier like are entities. Like they are creatures. Like they're not just raw investiture. So it's like the rules being slightly different in interacting with other investitures makes sense.
So were you saying that there's a valuable distinction between the entities, as you know, how there's a reason to have different names for that?
Not
for
that
anti-investiture?
The one Brandon is coming up with is like no Brandon. It's just like it's like this is the same distinction as like between a Spren and Stormlight. It's like
Sure. Yeah.
Whereas like it's the same thing. Whereas like stabbing an anti-Stormlight dagger into an honor Spren, very bad. It kills them. Stabbing it into like the Stormfather, like he'd be annoyed with you and like
yeah, it would probably hurt, but not cause lasting damage.
Yeah. Whereas like, yeah, I'm kind of reminded about how like Raboniel's trying to like corrupt the sibling. Like you just need a lot to do that, right? That's not quite the same thing though, because I was pumping it with void light.
Yeah, but it's like it's getting into the like there is a sheer mass of investiture that this entity is. So like to affect that, you need like an equivalently large amount of investiture.
Yeah.
Though the intensifier is a lot of investiture, it was almost able to overwhelm Starling's like draconic bracers, and they are meant to last. So for the Dakwara to be able to take that with no reaction, something's afoot.
Yeah, my take on this wasn't so much the amount of investiture, it was the type of anti-investiture, because it has to be the same, it has to be matching the type of...
Well, does it though?
Right? Like it does in Stormlight. Well, it has to be kind of opposite the same type.
Do we think like the Dakwara maybe has like a little bit of autonomy in it after being so long like being perceived by the
yeah, that's where I was going.
I don't know, like the maybe after so long of being perceived by the people of First of the Sun a certain way. It's like I don't know, I'm just throwing ideas out here.
That's where I was going with it.
No,
that's exactly where I'm at.
In the proximity. Hey, shout out to a very, very, very old theory of mine about Shardic radiation.
That's true. That's very old.
Ancient theory.
2010.
That I no longer ascribe to.
Yeah.
But like plausible, like over time, like picking up like some residual, like particularly like if entities are able to take in an investiture and like convert it into their own substance, there would be autonomy in the area that could be happening with. But ultimately, like there is that line about Odium removing Ambition's intent.
Yeah, because I think
whatever that means.
The issue, right, is that I think Ed's saying that, yeah, the entity would destroy our souls. And like they're from all over the place, right? So whatever investiture alignment that the people have, like the entity doesn't seem to care. So
that's where I see the huge amount of investiture just being so much.
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think there is something to the fact that this is such a powerful negative investiture entity that like it can destroy souls not via an annihilation reaction, which is what we see in Stormlight.
Okay, sure.
But just because you are overwhelming the soul with something that is destructive to it. So you are it would break the soul down and not annihilate it.
That I like.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that.
Sure. I was going to restate the same thing that you said, but slightly different, but I don't think we need to do that because I think we're okay. Put your comments below if you are liking this Anti-Investiture episode. That's the slowest pace of WoBs ever, though I guess Grace kind of snuck in a Nightblood WoB there that I didn't have in my list because it was just a raffle.
It's not the first time she has cheated on this episode.
We're cooking. We're getting autonomy in the Dakwara. That's great. We like that.
Yeah. So I did want to say that I don't like that. I
also don't like that, to be honest.
Yeah,
but I do find that fun.
This is not the official Shardcast opinion. I don't think there's any autonomy in there. I think if anything, this might go back to all the entities are weird.
Yeah.
I mean, they say,
that said, weird. I do like the reminder that annihilation reactions with investiture happen between investiture and investiture of the same intent, right? Anti-stormlight and voidlight don't annihilate each other.
True.
Probably you can have, if you can fire anti-voidlight with the intensifier and hit like a sphere of stormlight, you can probably destroy that. Kind of the same principle as all the entities overwhelm,
Yeah, like it's just like at that point, like as you said, it's just like the problem is not a mutual annihilation. It's just like there's just so much investiture being thrown around that it's getting destroyed. Like that's bad.
It's a nuke amount of energy.
It's like negative investiture. If you had like a laser beam of regular stormlight pointed at a sphere of regular void light, bad things are going to happen to that sphere of regular void light. It's getting baked into like the normal investiture mechanics.
I don't hate the idea that there was some like middling of patchy and now there's like
absolutely
a little bit of autonomy in there somehow.
I just don't.
That is exactly where I'm going, and I'm so glad you went there too.
I don't hate Bovidin / autonomy doing a little Siana enlightening of the Dakwara.
The enlightened Dakwara.
The enlightened Dakwara.
I just don't think that's necessary.
I don't think it's necessary, but it's plausible and it could be cool.
Evgeni's doing great.
I think that devalues the story from a meta like narrative perspective. The story of Isles of the Emberdark and to a lesser extent Six of the Dusk is about these people whose beliefs are like shaping reality. They believe this entity to be the Dakwara of myth, and so it becomes the Dakwara of myth. Even though it's a little Ouroboros-y, which I also like because it's snake.
Because they're serpents. That makes sense.
Because it inspired the beliefs of, but whatever. And so like by coming in and saying like we already have a little bit of devaluing of that by like Padgy like taking a more active role in this. And the trials which are specific to Dusk and stuff like that, but by also like having Bavadin or autonomy or Padgy directly influence the Dakwara and make it into the Dakwara in some capacity takes even more away. That I just don't want that.
Yeah, see, like in my mind, I was dialing down the intensity of what she did in my head, where it's like, oh, like she like injected a little of herself into that. So like this can be a tool for later. She did not make it the Dakwara. It was like the people still made it the Dakwara, but it's just like they did that. And then like she notices like, well, that could be useful.
But even then,
But-
like, all of the spren on Roshar being of honor and cultivation doesn't mean that they are, you look at most of those spren and you don't think honor and cultivation. Like, investiture entities that we have seen so far are not defined by the intent of the investiture that they are made of. In fact, physical entities are also not defined by the intent of the investiture that they are made of. Like, this is even less than
They
nature
kind of
versus
are.
nurture.
They kind of are.
Are they though?
Because it's like our Sion spread.
I think Sions are an exception, and I blame that exception
Our
to early
spirits
Brandon.
spread.
Spirits?
Yeah, from
The
mean?
Yoki Hijo.
Oh, the Yokihiju?
wait, there's spirits in the Cosmere? I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, it was such a normal word that I'm like, what?
It took me a second there.
Different from the spiritual realm, of course. Just to be clear.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, are they spren? Sure, yeah. Like, what? Why bring them up?
It's like I would I don't know. I'm just trying to draw a parallel. But we spread our a Roshar thing. There are similar things on other planets, but they're not spread. And
Sure.
so
Self-aware splinters.
yeah. Transformative cognitive entity, I believe it's the term that Chris uses. Whereas to a certain extent, are those boundaries planet based, or is it how involved is the shard in that? It's Sions are devotion. That is be partially defined by being of devotion. So it's you're there is no influence of the shards in categorization of investiture entities. Categorically, no. Is it the be all end all? Also no. But it's involved once you get into the nitty gritty.
I see Roshar as almost a little separate too, because the Spren predate having cultivation and honor on Roshar.
Most of them do.
Yeah.
Most of them.
Let's go on to the next question.
Yeah.
Was that number 4?
Number 4. Bonnie, you're up. Let's talk about Legion Rift's question. Record time, a legendary amount of WoBs have been done in this episode. Legendary.
Look, if it really helps if you don't think of this as a WoB episode.
Yeah, that's honestly true.
All right. So, question from Legion Rip. In Sunlit Man, there is an incredible amount of investiture at the core of Canticle. We know that odium, ambition, and mercy clashed near Threnody, but that ambition did not die there. Could Canticle be a grave or tomb for the corpse of ambition and its investiture? And Brandon says, it could be, but it's not. Legion Rip continues. It would connect the Threnodites being in both systems. The rings could be intended to keep the investiture from spilling out into the rest of the system and making it incredibly dangerous to traverse like Cell. Brandon says, this is a great question and a great theory, but I know where Ambition's corpse is, and it's not there.
What a thing to say.
Then where is it?
Of course, Brandon would, this makes sense. Brandon obviously would know where, a god corpse is. That's not something you just leave to, figure out later.
Especially with, the Nell and
dropping
things.
That. I was
small pushback. I think it is notable that there is a god corpse, right? Because Devotion and Dominion, notably, they are a bit of an exception in that they got shoved into the cognitive realm. I guess Honor is also a bit of an exception.
As god corpses, real talk.
Yeah.
Those are
yes. But in that case, cognitive realm, location bound, makes sense that there could be something, right? I was going to bring up Honor, and then I remembered the whole Wind and Truth thing, and Honor is no longer actually splintered.
Never was, apparently.
Never was.
We're still not triggered by it.
Not at all. I guess Laris was preservation. I wouldn't say preservation.
Laris
splintered.
was not dead. he was dying for a very, very, very long time.
But then he died and then
was not
appeared.
dead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's not a god corpse. That's just like
That's
the
true.
corpse of a god. Different,
Corpse of
entirely
the
different
vessel.
thing.
The
Don't
vessel.
confuse a god corpse and a corpse of a god.
How foolish of me.
Lowercase g.
How foolish of me. You can totally figure out the capitalization. YouTube
Look,
subtitles will figure it out, guys. I'm sure. Don't worry.
Yeah. Oh, the idea of we've abandoned shard poo, but we now have a shard corpse.
Leros was like preservation was never without a holder. Until like there was
not
still
for long, yeah.
Laris was dying, not dead.
Yeah. I guess there is the concept of like a shard's core or nexus or whatever Wind and Truth called it.
I think this is just referring to where ambition finally died, right? Which, like, as we said, like, that's the wound on the spiritual realm. That's the knell,
Yeah.
right? And so that's where these three shards clashed. Well, Mercy's involvement is unclear. Mercy was there.
I mean, I do think it is. Yes. I just find it interesting that because like shards are everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And so the idea of a corpse is not surprising, but interesting.
Yeah, like you need like to like take up a shard. Like you can't just do that from like if preservation dies on Scadrial and like Kelsier and Vin aren't there to take it up. That's the thing that happens. Like preservation pervades the entire Cosmere. I don't think you could ascend to preservation on it like Nulthus. Like, no, you have to be on Scadrial because that's where like preservation's and core nexus, whatever we're calling that. We can't use Nexus is the problem. Nexus is the word to use.
Because Nexus already is
but
two different things.
It's already disambiguated.
We should not reward Brandon for naming things poorly.
Trell. Let's talk about Trell again.
Yeah. So it's like presumably this is referring to where like that like central critical mass of ambition is like the place where you would need to go in order to ascend to ambition.
Yeah.
Which presumably the fact that like he says I know where ambition's corpse is and doesn't just say the Nell.
Well, like the Nell could be the wound on the spiritual realm, and so it gets a little wonky, but yeah.
Yeah, the Nell obviously like is the wound on the spiritual realm. It's just like earlier you were saying like, and that is where like the corpse would be,
I guess that's
something
that's
you
fair.
said. And
that's
like that's what I'm gonna push back on. It's just like, I don't think so, because like
fair.
Then like why wouldn't he say that?
I'm gonna push back against your pushback.
Okay.
Yes, the corpse doesn't need to be at the Nell. It can be. It doesn't need to be. Why wouldn't he say that?
It can
because
be.
The concept of a raffle, which is a non-answer, exists. Like Brandon can just not say things. It's fine.
He can.
A couple things.
Great.
First, I think this is more just a thematic thing. I don't know that this means anything, but I did notice when looking at the names that like the Threnodite system has a lot of very musical names, like Threnody, Elegy, Monody are all kind of like songs for the dead.
And Coronach,
yes.
Coronach is a song of the dead.
And Canticle is another, not for the dead, but it is like a musical sort of theming, which I thought was interesting in terms of like the fact that the Threnodites went there. I don't know if that's like just a thematic connection maybe, or if it's like potentially there's named by the same people. I don't know.
Yeah. I would assume it's like Threnody was named Threnody by. Was it named by the people on it?
That's a good question.
But it also might suggest to me that like maybe these places are pretty close, especially if that is where the Threnodites traveled to.
Well, clearly they need to get there on their space hover bikes, so the canticle system can't be that far.
Like, more what I was trying to get into before getting sidetracked in my own brain is that, like, I don't know if, like, Canticle was named Canticle before the Threnodites got there. And so, like, I think it's plausible, like, they named it, like, in accordance to, like, their understanding of how you name planets, which is after songs.
Yeah, that's what I would assume.
Yeah. Alternatively, Virtuosity. Blame Virtuosity as the art shard. I hate that she's the art shard, but
let's get Virtuosity in here with Ambitious Mercy
of invention.
Let's get them all in here.
Yeah. The other thing that I was thinking was, like, Canticle's not anti-investiture, right? Like, it's like a ton of investiture.
Yeah.
But for Ambition's corpse, it sounds like it's probably going to be anti-investiture if, like, that was, like...
Yeah.
The whole shard flipped, we've always said. Like, I assume if there is...
Well, but it doesn't the whole shard flipped because shades, right?
Well, but that's...
Yeah, like, it's the central mass flipped, which is, like, that's what would be the corpse.
So the way I've seen this is more, if you imagine you have this clash between Odium and Ambition, is Odium is like ripping parts of Ambition off, and that creates the entities. And then you still have that core part of Ambition. That's the way I imagine it.
Yeah. This is similar to how I think of it, which is, I don't think of it as ripping. So, like, what does a Shardic conflict look like? I think Brandon has room to do whatever he wants with that, but we have seen Ruin and Preservation in the form of Vin and Ati. Mm-hmm. We have a little bit seen Tanavast versus Race.
Yeah, a little bit.
The way both of these are portrayed, room for interpretation, and maybe others look different. But it looks like you have the vessel. Like, I've always thought of the shards as comparable to, for anyone who's read the Dresden Files, the mantles of power in there. And I know I've brought this up on the pod before. But it's, you have a person and they are wearing, or after a long enough time, they are being worn by the mantle of power, by the shard, by the power. Mm-hmm. And so it's the two vessels that are so, like, when Ruin and Preservation are clashing above the skies of Scadrial, a piece of Preservation's investiture halfway across the Cosmere and a piece of Ruin's investiture halfway across the Cosmere are not interacting in any capacity, right? The vessels are kind of wielding a representation of their infinite power in a place. Yeah. And we kind of see a similar thing when Honor and Odium clash above the Shattered Plains, which, and we didn't talk about this earlier, but that also creates a little bit of anti-investiture, which is a little bit weird. But
that's true. That is a good point. That is true.
Naturally occurring.
The idea is those are localized conflicts, right? Mm-hmm. And so if we turn our attention to the Odium versus Ambition and or Mercy, unclear which side, if any, she was involved with.
Yeah.
We are again looking at a localized conflict where Rays and Uli Da were going all fisticuffs somewhere in the cosmos, like around Threnodi's neighborhood. And so the way I think of it is, there's a chunk of power which is localized. It does represent Ambition's infinite power, but it's like in this one place. And there's a chunk of power which is Odium's infinite power, but it's in this one place. And like Odium is ripping essentially Uli Da's body. It's an avatar, it's a representation of the shard, it's like something localized that he can rip apart, and that turns into the Evo. But the heart the center, the core, the nexus of the shard, I don't think that's negative. I don't think that's flipped necessarily.
Yeah,
Because if the heart were flipped, I think all of ambition would need to be flipped.
No.
And as far as we know, a piece of ambition halfway across the Cosmere is still a piece of ambition halfway across the Cosmere.
Yes. This kind of like circles back to like where we started at the beginning, where I'm like, there is like investiture that is part of the core system that like the vessel is aware of and is controlling, and like the cosmic background investiture that like is infinite and pervades the Cosmere. The core can flip without the cosmic background investiture flipping.
Yeah, I think that's
more fine. Getting into this metaphor of like what is shardic conflict is that I don't know. I just go more abstract.
Yeah.
Like, well, really, the metaphor in my brain is when like two people are in those inflatable suits, and like can't really use their arms and just kind of run and kind of like slam against each other, and like that's what shards do.
I hope it's like, cooler on screen when we see a very
hope it's
full.
Not.
So it's just like a lot of like ramming each other of
that's
like
the thumbnail.
Rather than like getting your like fingers in and tearing out chunks. It's just like stuff is being impacted and stuff is being ejected. It's like two asteroids impacting each other.
I kind of like that with, I would say, like, that kind of fits to me the idea that like the Dawn shards were used to kill the Adenosium, in the sense that like I like the idea that you need the Dawn shards to do anything with finesse. And like maybe that's why it's so dangerous for Retribution to get a hold of the Dawn shard. It's not just like the power, it's that it gives him a level of finesse that will let him more easily kill other shards.
That's
I can see
cool.
that.
I mean, I do want to. Sorry, Eric. I do want to ask Ian, what does it look like in your mind for let's say the heart? I from what you have said, I know that, which is why I want to ask you and not go in there myself. If ambition's core is flipped to being negative investiture, what does it look like for someone to ascend to ambition once again?
Well, really hard.
I mean,
it's like you would have.
What does that mean for the rest of the Cosmere, where there is, shades?
For the broader Cosmere, like, I don't think it affects things too much, because like the investiture like is just doing what it did before. If like the core of ambition, like if someone did ascend somehow as a negative ambition and started going around and like collecting that investiture, like they would probably be able to like flip it naturally, and like it would be bad. I think it would be very hard to like ascend to ambition, like with it being the core being negative, but like there might be some way to flip it back. Like that might be a prerequisite before anybody. That might be why no one has ascended to ambition in the millennia sense. Is like, well, it's like we literally can't without like annihilating our own soul.
I need to have a point of order here. Why are we assuming that there is still a core of ambition?
Yeah,
there does not need to be that.
There, yeah.
Well, but Brandon could just be mimicking the phrasing that the questioner is asking. That doesn't need to be literal in that sense. Like if Devotion and Dominion have a corpse and that's just a plasma storm, that doesn't mean you can ascend to that. That's not what that means.
I absolutely think like you could ascend. There would be some mechanism to ascend to Devotion and Dominion.
Okay. I guess
it'd be very hard.
I guess
that's a whole different conversation.
Okay, fine. I guess what I'm saying is the quoted Emberdark, a god was destroyed, torn apart, its intent removed, and its pieces made into some kind of terrible negative energy. They roam the Underdark, seeking souls to consume. There is not enough power in one spot to ascend, based off that description.
At that point, like, I'd just be annoyed at Brandon because his response to like, oh, like the corpse isn't there is like, oh, there's not really a corpse. Like,
okay,
I mean,
that's fair enough. I just think interpret that as that's where ambition died, and like that's fine for me. Like that's totally reasonable.
We do have somewhere that has strange properties that we don't understand. Okay. We could always go with praise.
No, this is not on praise. No way. Honor would notice if there was shenanigans like that. There's no way that's the case.
I was gonna say, there is place like we see with Tanavast and with Leras and with AT. Like, there is a physical place where the vessel's corpse drops when they die. Like, so there has to be a place where that happens, right?
Yeah. That could be like what Brandon means.
Different corpse.
I think you're just making assumptions, and I think that is true. That you're making several assumptions, both you and Evgeni, in my opinion.
Yes, but like their assumptions to make this like make sense. Because
I think it's reasonable.
You're also
to
making assumptions.
Sure.
Yeah, I think it's
that like the words he's using don't matter.
Yeah, he does demonstrably mimic the phrasing that someone uses to communicate with them. That does happen.
Oh.
Yes.
I will concede Ulida's corpse is probably somewhere in outer space.
Yeah. Fully agree.
Yeah.
Reading this again, I do think I know where Ambition's corpse is and it's not there. Could mean he knows where it is and it no longer exists. I will give you that. I don't think that is inherent to the question. I think it could be go either way.
I think it's just like where, like, surely he would need to know where these negative investiture entities radiated out from. That's completely fine.
I mean, that's got to be the Nell.
Yeah, like that's the Nell. This goes back into like, if it is just the place she died, why not just say that?
I don't know. I don't think that's a big deal. That seems fine to me.
But I
Brandon's
will agree.
disagreed with you many times on that.
That's true.
So I don't know if I should.
Right, because Brandon doesn't care about
words. We need to trust your judgment about the words Brandon says, good sir.
And Brandon usually ends up being right in those disagreements.
Disagree. Brandon is wrong, but it doesn't matter because he's the author and automatically wins. He wins. He's not right.
Well, I think that's a philosophical discussion.
Speaking of negative investiture and anti-investiture, am I right?
Well, in that case, he is wrong.
Well, yeah.
No, I do think it is reasonable to go. Well, maybe there isn't no core because I think we have walked back the idea of splintered shards a little bit in recent years.
Well, I mean,
with like honor being splintered but not splintered. Maybe there is no core.
Yeah, there doesn't need to be a core.
Yeah, maybe. So like the thing that would have been the core is the evil.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like.
Yeah.
I don't think there is a thing to ascend to because those chunks are the evil that's roaming around, and that happened in somewhere, and Brandon knows where that somewhere is. It's not that mysterious. That seems.
I guess the way I'm thinking about this is more story-wise. To me, it feels like there needs to be representation from each of the shards for the final conflict. I could totally be wrong on that.
Okay.
It's like, we're building up all the different shards.
Okay.
How are we going to represent this?
Okay.
Is someone going to come riding in on the Dakwara?
I was about to say,
hell yeah.
riding in on the Dakwara.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay. I'm into that. And
the Dakwara swims through the shard pool and swims through space at the forefront of a ship armada.
And the Night Brigade gets a Dawn Shard, and they change the they command the negative investiture entities, and they are going to use that to wreck people. Boom.
I don't know what the end of the Cosmere looks like. I don't think it will be, and I wouldn't want it to be an Avengers Endgame. Here's everyone.
Wrong. Disagree. There needs to be disagree. There needs to be enormous space battle and an enormous Shardic battle simultaneously, and it needs to be awesome. Disagree. You're fired.
Nothing that you've said contradicts what I said. Like, enormous, yes. Shards, yes. Big, yes. I don't think we need to check every box.
We don't need. We don't need to check every box, but the more boxes that are there is cool.
Yeah, I think like that's getting into like this isn't going to be Avengers Endgame. Is like we're not going to see like every character. Like Vin's not gonna rock up at the end of the Cosmere and say like I'm here too.
The god beyond himself comes down and Vinadel appears.
Kelsier absolutely is going
Kelsier's
to
gonna
be
be there. 100%.
But like having a representation of like at least some representation of each shard, I think like is required.
Or a majority. Like there are some shards that are less important that depending on how many books Brandon does, right? Like we might not get much. How useful is Whimsy going to be there? I don't know. Probably not.
I don't know. I feel like
this gets into like the representation of ambition could just be the Dakwara rocking up.
Yeah.
Like that checks off the ambition checkbox and like move on to other stuff.
I don't know. I feel like we're not going to be able to look at the final book of the final Mistborn series and go like line by line and go, well, here's my virtuosity rep, here's my ambition rep, here's my autonomy rep. Like, I think some of these plot lines are just going to be dealt with earlier in other books.
And you can combine some too to make it work out. Like you have, using Harmony as an example, though, I think it's going to look different. Then you can have Harmony, which combines two of them. You can have, some combination with Honor, even though I don't think we're going to necessarily be seeing Retribution. Okay. You have Devotion and Dominion in some form representing Elantris. You can kind of boil them down to smaller pieces or combine them.
Yes. I think this is the wrong way to think about it. At me in 30 years.
Remind me, 30 years. Discord's not gonna
I was gonna say, going back a little bit to the original point, I don't think there necessarily has to be any ambition correlate left, and maybe the evidence suggests there isn't. But even if there is, like, if it's surrounded by the evil, like, no one is going to go through there to ascend to ambition. Like,
even if there was
something there, and it's just like surrounded by the evil, and it's like, maybe that's actually a really bad thing. Maybe the ambition in Era 4 or whatever in the Avengers Assemble moment, it's going to be a piece of the evil picked up the rest of ambition or whatever. Like, I don't know. Like,
counterpoint.
Okay.
Anyone who would be interested in the Shard of Ambition would not let the evil stop them.
This isn't a counterpoint because it's
would not let the evil stop them from attempting to pick up ambition.
Yeah. For support. Who is a very ambitious person in the Cosmere who already holds 2 shards.
Okay, sure. For a second, but until you finish that sentence, I'm like, the Admiral?
No, I was going Kelsier. I was like, we're taking a trip.
It's like
a trip to Kelsier.
Yeah, because like we've already seen a difference between Taravangian and Race. Like Race wouldn't have picked up. Race probably knew where Ambition's corpse is because he was standing right there. Didn't pick it up. Taravangian, I'm like, more power. Ambition, that kind of.
Yeah, that's possible. Mm-hmm. That is possible for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Taravangian would. I don't think Taravangian could.
Yeah, I
don't think anyone could.
I don't think anyone can.
Taravangian loses honor and picks up ambition.
That's
If
actually very
anybody
cool.
could, I think it's ambition.
It's also like after Emberdark, it's like we lost a whole perpendicularity. Like, why we lost a whole entity? Why can't we just like lose a piece of a shard somewhere out in the Emberdark? You know, maybe that's the Isles of the Emberdark sequel. Is them like sailing to the forgotten location of Ambition's corpse in the cognitive realm.
The navigators are just looking for something.
And I would just say, on the irrelevant point about the Avengers Endgame, the Daquara being relevant in the final bit of the Mistborn trilogy is, like, obviously Pachdi and the Navigators and the AVR are relevant for that. So of any of these, the Daquara is probably
not obvious to me at all.
I think that's always been clear that the AVR are extremely important, which is why both these
AVR, yes.
empires
Navigator, yes. Daquara? No.
I think I'm just saying, of the list of checkboxes, First of the Sun has things that are both big empires really want, and so the Daquara is much more likely to be relevant of the list of 16 checkboxes. True.
I don't know. To me, it's
Daquara is more plausible than Whimsy.
I don't know.
Yes,
to me, it's like
100%.
the longer we go without knowing anything about Whimsy is up to, the more I'm like, oh man, like Whimsy's are really doing something out there in the Cosmere. That
I don't know if that's true though. Let's move on to what is absolutely our last question, and will probably be very short. Wow. Record low, guys. Congrats. Give ourselves high fives. Well, I guess let's give ourselves high fives once we actually get this one done. The questioner asks, do shades need a form of connection to speak different languages? Brandon, yes, but it is pretty easy for them to do.
Do we think they mean cognitive shadow?
I think
so I'm
Because
thinking
most shades ain't talking.
I think they mean like Nas-like things that are shades, right? That are sapient shades, right? That's how I'm interpreting this.
Yes.
I was thinking of Sunlit Man and whether there's any.
Oh, that's true. That's as valid. Okay.
Nomad connects himself to the local land, which is why he's able to speak with the Beaconites, which is
Actually, Ox does that, not
okay.
Nomad.
That is, you are correct. That is a meaningful distinction relative to what I said.
A meaningful distinction?
If you had not corrected me, everything I had said after that would have been wrong.
So
so thank you for that.
So do you mean meaningless distinction?
No, I meant sarcasm.
Okay. Fair enough.
Just looking at Nas, right? Like, or even looking at like the Admiral and the Night Brigade. These are cognitive shadows that seemingly can very easily move between planets, where we know that like that's not something Kelsier can do, right? Like,
I think Kelsier is unique, and I think the Spren were unique. I think cognitive shadows baseline are not tethered to their world.
They don't have to be. I think that's true. I wonder why it is easy for them to get some sort of connection to do this. It's kind of interesting to me.
Oh yeah, that is.
I mean, maybe it's like
That's what I
whatever
thought the interesting
rights.
part is.
Maybe whatever rights, like there's connection involved in the rights that make them sapient and not crazy, and so like they just have a better understanding of the connections and can manipulate them more easily.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think it's romantic bullshit. Because like Ox is able to connect Nomad.
Oh yeah, sure.
And like
Sure.
Ox is a high Spren. High Spren don't have like inherently connection-y thing. So like I think it's just a product of entities like investiture beings.
Okay, there
are
you go.
more investiture beings are more attuned to the three realms than physical beings are.
Sure.
And like we've seen like Syl just vibe stuff about the realms. And so I think they just have like more influence, more control, more understanding of these things.
Yeah, and then like in Yumi and the Nightmare Painter, like there's the thing about like design is able to like stretch like the connection.
Yeah, but she has a device.
Oh, she does? Okay.
Yeah. She has like a little connection reader.
Connection stretcher.
I mean, she does do a thing where she like does she or have I been influenced by the art commission that we did?
It's been far too long since I've read Yumi, so I don't remember.
I think it might. I think this might be the art. I think in the book she just like reads Yumi's connections off of a screen.
She does have a screen, but there is a machine. I don't remember what it does.
Yeah, there's a device. There's absolutely a device.
Wow. This episode went a lot of different places, guys. Most of it was anti-investiture, but that also went in a lot of different places.
Anti-spiritual realm.
So she says, I can see the line of connection from you to it. I've got the strong cognitive aspect, hard to explain without numbers, and mortals get cross-eyed when I use those instead. I'm not really here, like I've told you, so I can see cognitive shadows even when they don't want to be seen.
Yeah. So the thing I think both of us are thinking, Ian, which is her like showing the connection as a string or a strand is not a real thing.
She talks about it as a string, though.
Well, yeah, but
because he talks about like stretching it.
Yeah.
No, she talks about the connection between Yumi and Painter being.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like that was my point. Like she is able to stretch that somehow.
She calls them lines. Connection lines are easy to see at times.
Yeah, and I mean, like when Dalinar sees the Oath Pact, he also like visualizes that. Like connections are, they're not lines because they're spiritual, but like human or sapient minds perceive them as lines because makes sense.
To circle back to the WoB, I think this gets into like it's not that like it's pretty easy for them to do because they're shades, and more just like this is just an easy thing to do.
But
like once you're like dealing with connection like that, like getting like different languages, like Dalinar is able to do that like very early on. I'm like,
yes, but he explicitly has power over connection. Kaladin,
that like that's my point is like once you like have like access to like if you have some access to manipulate connection, like getting different languages is like very easy to do. Like of anything you can do with connection, languages is on the easy side.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes, I agree. That's a truthful statement.
Yeah.
That predisposes that shades have access to connection, which is not clear just from the WoB.
I guess that's true.
Yeah. And Brandon's saying it's pretty easy for them to do, which is like not saying it's easy to do. So.
And so I think it goes like, I think once you are no longer a being born of the physical realm, that is more natural thing for you to have access to.
There's something about it that feels like there's pros and cons to like each of these states of being. Like the con of being a cognitive shadow is you're warped by perception in things, but then you can do things like this, which are just easier for you to do than if you were like in the physical or something.
Although I think some Spran have to learn different languages and they don't speak like whatever. So
I don't know, man.
Maybe don't read too much into it.
I don't know. I just wonder if, like, in my mind, like, I think maybe that, like, the rights that we were saying Naz was talking about earlier are just maybe very heavily lean into the idea of connection. Like, maybe that's how the Admiral controls her army, is like she is connected. Like, maybe shades lack connection typically, and she's found a way to connect them to herself, and that's how she's able to control them. And like for a shade like Naz who has been through the rights, like those connections are just more easily able to be manipulated.
Other thing to tie into this of like normal shades, like not really having much going on mentally. Beginning of Oathbringer, when the Parshmen are waking up, more or less. It's like connection refounded, connection reestablished. Like connection is involved with that.
Yeah, it is.
Connection refounded, identity restored.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so like that would tie into like connection being involved. Like,
I mean,
like
connection
in
is
order for a
involved
shade
with everything, though.
Yeah, but there is some like meaningful difference between the connections of a shard that is self-aware and of a mindless shade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure.
Which, like, yeah, that goes without saying, but like,
yeah, in retrospect, that's like, yeah,
there's a difference. But like,
yeah.
So like, there's a plausibility of like those rights, like manipulating the connection to make that difference, which is kind of what we've been saying of like the rights being a leading candidate for this.
Sure.
And manipulation of connection.
Yeah, once we know anything about those rights. Yeah. All right, everyone. Well, I've just done the math, and we've spent over 30 minutes on each question on here. So we're doing great here on this recording. Although we you're getting the shorter version here.
It's fine.
35 minutes per WoB. So we're usually, like, in the before days, you'd get like 8 to 10 pages. Here, we didn't get through 2.
To be fair, Eric, to be fair, in the before days, you would yell at us if we went on too long.
That is true.
So you did not yell at us. Maybe
no.
This is how WoB episodes always naturally would have happened.
This is the natural state when you create this out of positive investiture, that it will just go on forever.
Hey, I walked into this episode assuming that we were going to talk about negative investiture and only negative investiture, and we kind of did.
Yeah, we did. That seems fine. Look, we will reach our quota of padding time till Ghostbusters 1 release. We're well on track, guys. Anyway,
well,
can get a few episodes out of Fires of December.
Oh my god, there's so many pages left.
Yeah, well, usually we got the 6 or 10, and not just 2.
We just need to pad until Fires of December is released, not until Ghost Bloods.
Yeah. Okay. Of course. Okay, well, we're gonna go on to Who's That Cosmere Character.
This character is from Roshar.
Menace, Tien,
Tom,
Braze,
Void in drag on a horse.
It's time for Who's That Cosmere Character. Caw.
All right, everyone, you know how the game is played. You send an email to wtcc@17thchart.com with 5 clues in the character those clues correspond to. I'll read each clue aloud, and after each one, our panelists will have the chance to guess who's that Cosmere character.
I haven't heard you say this in so long. I think it was the Threnody episode. I think that was the last one you were on.
I do like Threnody. I feel a connection to it, being named Grace and wearing silver. So I like to try to be on the Threnody related things.
You're like, I will be there. Excellent. Oh, and now I have to pay attention to this part. Okay.
Clue 1. This character is only mentioned in the Stormlight archive.
Okay.
Well, that's not Theophilus.
No. You can't say Kaladin either.
Mm,
He's mentioned in Sunlit Man.
I'm assuming this is like across all names that they use. It's not like they're called one thing in Stormlight and other things on other planets, so they count.
Bold of you to assume that Grace is going to give you anything.
Grace is a cruel and harsh Who's That Cosmere Character mistress.
If I don't ask, she would never answer.
That's true.
She'll never answer if I do ask. But
I'll take a guess. Is it Whimsy?
It is Whimsy.
Oh,
what the my god.
Good. Keeping the runtime down. I appreciate that. That's good shit.
Clue 2?
Categorically false. Whimsy is mentioned in Lost Metal.
Oh, are they? This
Is
might have.
Is that true?
Pretty sure.
No, this was not. This was not sent in before last month.
Okay,
I don't
hold
think I can
on,
say
hold on,
that.
hold on.
Fact check this. Pretty sure Whimsy gets mentioned.
Hold on.
I think that is true. I
Uh,
am
Because
trying.
it's
well,
in relation
okay.
to the newspaper.
Oh,
If it's
there's no
capitalized.
whimsy capitalized to her. That's a different god. Yeah, that's unfortunate. That is unfortunate.
Well, we got it in clue 1, so I don't think
Yes,
it matters.
Bonnie still wins, but I feel vindicated for the clue being
Okay.
wrong.
Okay.
Bonnie
Vindication?
wins, but the question, not the questioner, the submissioner, the
Let's quickly go
Submitter.
through the other clues.
submitter. Yes.
Yeah. Clue 2, this character's current location is unknown. Clue 3, this character is presumably quite old. Clue 4, this character is considered to not be helpful. And clue 5, this character travels in an unnamed vessel.
Yeah, that's clever.
That's fun.
I like the
that.
last one.
I like that.
Yeah, the rest of it redeems it somewhat, but
All right.
What?
I have a second one.
Okay, great.
This
Hit
one
us.
was sent in by Tyler.
Great.
Thanks,
Good.
Tyler.
This character is thrifty.
Thrifty?
Yes. I'm pretty sure it says thrifty.
thrifty is a word.
Yes,
I mean,
but
yes.
It makes me Boy Scout flashbacks.
30. When I first read it, I did think it said 30 and went, that does not make any sense for this character. And then I read it again.
I don't think I've ever thought of any Cosmere character as thrifty.
Yeah.
Tress.
It is Tress.
Oh my god.
Okay, cool. Have a good one. Bye, everyone.
All right. Clue 2 was this character has loving, supportive parents. Clue
Okay.
3, this character does not use their given name. Clue 4, this character has spoken with Hoyd. And clue 5, this character is a ship's captain.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I specifically was like, I'm gonna find one that won't have any controversial clues. Because the first
Yep,
one I opened did have something where I was like, they might
Oh my god.
argue about this.
Yeah, like this feels like rolling a nat 20 on disadvantage.
Yeah,
just like,
yeah.
The universe
Yes.
wants this to happen.
Yes.
And
Yes.
by the universe, I mean Bonnie's brain.
I mean, I guess. All right, let's do a priority queue, I guess.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you keeping my editing load down, Bonnie. That's really appreciated. Let's see if you can go 3 for 3. I like it. All right.
If
Now-
you don't get this on the first clue, you lose all your points.
No, you don't. No, you don't. You're still a god. You're a god in our hearts, Bonnie. So now we're gonna do one from our Who's That Cosmere Character priority queue, and you can submit to our priority queue by being a herald on Patreon. Patreon.com/17shard. But of course, if you don't want to be a herald on Patreon and you just want to support us in any way, there are lower tiers. For just $1 a month, you basically get most of the cool stuff. So, hey, cool.
It's a tip jar.
Yeah. So this one is sent by Tagnomen.
We know Tagnolwyn.
Clue 1. I have never worked for money.
I
I didn't
hope
pick
you
this
have other
one
ways of
about
making money, I
thrifty.
guess.
I didn't pick this one based off the thrifty one.
Why does my mind go?
Faffin.
No.
It's not Faffin.
See, it's
Okay.
like you could go to the nobles, or you could be my brain and be like, who was born and died as a slave?
Okay. Well, I was gonna go to Who's a Child.
Okay.
Oh no, you know what it is?
What is it?
It's Kaza.
You are wrong. It is not Casa.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Nightblood.
It's not Nightblood.
Nightblood's
This
never
is the
worked
good
for
part.
money. Surely.
Yeah. My thinking was who is working but not getting paid, and I'm like, well, the Ardents are slaves,
Sure.
but I guess Kaza could have I guess most, if not all, Ardents could have had like jobs before.
Yeah, sure. That doesn't mean they never worked for money. Sure.
Yeah.
That's why you gotta
What
think
is
of
the
like a
specific
parchment.
phrasing again?
I have never worked for money.
Yeah, parchment's probably a good call.
But I don't know. I feel like most of the parchment are.
I mean, they would
guess-
fit.
Yeah.
So the problem is the clue doesn't tell you whether this person has never worked or if they have worked and only worked for not money.
It's true. All that's true.
And
So take
thing
that
to
take that
remember-
critique to your heart.
Voran slaves do get paid.
Well,
That's true.
this is like the I feel like there's something weird about the format because it starts with like
Yeah.
I. It's not this character has never worked for money. It's
Some
I
people
have never-
like
Okay,
just
well, but-
doing yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
we're
don't know.
not ready to deal with Tagnoman's personal employment history.
Style.
Style.
I don't know. I've seen enough of weird formats that I'm like, there is some trick to this. The first
Yeah,
person
this
is
feels like a trick.
important.
Mhm.
Maybe there
I'm
is.
gonna take a guess here, and I'm not confident here, but I'm gonna go with Taravangian.
It is not Taravangian.
All right, good. I was gonna end this call.
to be fair, that would be. I don't like people messing with my overlay, but that would have been very funny if Bonnie
This
got
was
it
a
and you just,
calculated
like,
risk I
rage
was
quit.
going to take.
That would have I would have accepted that. That would have been good. Clue 2. I have a father, but no blood relatives.
Still,
It is not Syl.
Good. I was also gonna guess Syl.
Nightblood.
It's not Nightblood.
I guess
But
Nightblood
no
last
blood
round.
relatives.
Yeah.
Father.
Oh, did you?
Father.
Yeah.
Um.
are there any Cosmere world where like beasts are called father? Could this be someone
Yes.
who has like a?
Yes. Yes, there are. Unfortunately, there are multiple guesses I can think of.
Oh, I've got one.
Did you guess already, Bonnie?
Um,
I guess
I'm gonna
Nightblood,
guess.
Okay.
I'm gonna guess Melan.
It's not Milan. Oh, that's pretty good. I like that. I like that.
But Kendra have blood relatives.
They have goop relatives, am I right?
but-
They have goop
that was
relatives
fine.
is the more accurate way of saying that.
There's no direct relation. They're all just elevated, uplifted misrates.
Good sir.
Misrates reproduce.
Yeah,
though.
good sir. They have misraced relatives. How dare you?
Well, they could.
Yeah.
They do.
Oh, I guess the younger ones would.
They
Yeah.
breed true. Yeah.
And technically, they are blood relatives of humanity on Scadrial because they used to be.
Okay, that's an extremely stretchy definition of blood. Like, come on. Yeah, we're all relatives.
It's like-
we're all descended from Adam and Eve.
I mean, that statistically there is a person who we all descend from. That is always statistically true.
Yeah, and also like we are
Yeah, but that's not
genetically
what-
related to like every form of life on Earth.
That's not
That-
what people mean when they
that-
say blood relatives.
Timbre.
It's not Timbre. Clue 3. I am full of hope.
Oh, Matisse.
It is Matisse from the
Wow.
Hope of Elantris.
Hope of Elantris.
Very
Hey.
nice.
And Tagnoman said, I reread this recently and it hits so much harder now that I have kids.
Oh,
And that makes sense.
it's a bit of a deep cut.
Yeah, I mean, and I will
but
point out
like-
Elantris.
for
Atai, the Aeon is hope.
yeah, that is exactly
Yeah.
what they meant. Also, it was funny, Evgeni, how you're like, oh, a child, and then you just totally went. And it's funny.
Well, so when
It's
I said
funny.
that, my mind was thinking of Lyft,
Okay.
and
Okay.
then that no longer became applicable.
Yeah, I mean, Lyft probably has done work for money. That demonstrably is probably like if you're on a thieving crew, you steal stuff and then you get money. Like you don't get a W
I
two,
agree.
but you know, I think that is work.
I mean, I don't
Yeah,
know.
She
No,
gets
I'm with
paid
Eric.
in
I think-
lunches.
The independent
I don't know.
contractor. not a W-2 employee, but
anyway,
that's fine.
Matisse, or as the Atlanteans or the Airline would say, say probably.
God,
Maytice.
ew,
Maytice?
disgusting.
It is absolutely horrible. I hate this more than Elantris.
That's awful.
It's a little short story that Brandon wrote for a girl in his wife to be in Emily's like elementary school class or something like that.
Correct.
Whose name I think was just Matisse, right? Like that was her name.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
And I think the story goes that she did a project on Elantris, and then Emily showed Brandon.
Oh, yeah,
that's right. Yeah, I remember the project. Yeah.
Not knowing that like she was dating the author.
Yeah.
And look where we are now.
I will say for the record, it's very funny of all the things that we did not elaborate to the audience that this is the thing we explained. But to be fair, I think not many people have read The Hope of Elantris. So I do think that is
Arcanum Unbounded, so I think more people have probably read it now than...
I'm sure it was top priority for the people who got Arcanum Unbounded to read it, for sure.
How do you get to this on Brandon's website?
Can you still?
Yeah. Okay, so disclaimer: this website changes every couple of years, so maybe it's not there when you are listening to this.
That's true. 5 years from now, it will not be at the link in the description, let me tell you.
But under Start Here, there is a free fiction header.
Oh, okay.
And there you can find The Hope of Elantris, along with a little like forward type of, here's a little explanation of what's happening here.
Well, I will link that in the description, which will not work in 5 years. That is, I am certain of that. But sometimes they put redirects.
You gotta,
you know.
So, hit the bell, and that's how you get notified for these things when they come out, and you get timely notifications.
Well,
on YouTube.
so fun story, Evgeni. I read an article that said that YouTube is now, even if you have the bell on, if you don't interact with a creator, you will not get notified. So actually, you will not.
God damn it, YouTube.
So ring the bell and leave a comment below.
Yes.
So you have to watch our content if you if you click the bell, that you will not get push notification. I think you'll still be in the sub box, but I know people don't necessarily get our community posts in the sub box. Namely, me, whenever I make a freaking community post from 17 Shard on my personal account, I don't see it.
Hey, I love this world we live in, which is great. And everything is... So it's time to go back to RSS feeds and forums, baby.
Well, speaking of that, www.17shard.com for all your news, discussions, series, and fun that you could ever want. You can go to the forums and our Discord server at discord.gg/17shard, where we do have a feed of news where we display the things. So you won't.
And it's just a channel of chronological notifications. There's no algorithm, baby.
No algorithm. No algorithms here. We don't want any of that useful stuff.
We'll have Paleo whip one up for us. Don't worry.
So to randomize what you get in the newsfeed. Yeah, that'll be good. And then, of course, you can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/17shard. And yeah, comment below if you like this train wreck of an episode. But I thought it was good. So there.
Or also comment below if you didn't. Also comment below if you felt neutral about it.
That's true. Yeah, comment below. I felt neutral about
this. If you hated it, leave a comment below telling us you liked it.
No.
There you go.
But you have to say it in the phrase of like positive investiture, negative investiture, or
what if you anti like
neutral? But so you can say you're anti this episode.
Leave an anti comment.
Leave an anti comment.
Does our content reach our non-subscribers ever? Do we get recommended to like random ass people?
It has happened because our interview
That's true. That's true.
I don't know if it was Brandon or like with Daniel Green showed up in a coworker's feed once.
That is true.
Ask me about it.
Interviews are their own thing. But
well,
like,
let me tell you, our
weird-ass
analytics in the
episodes-
last 28 days are not going to show this, and I am going to look right now to tell you which proportion of people subscribed, and I bet it's pretty bad. Or rather, that most people have subscribed and most people have not.
Higher or lower? Are our viewers higher percentage of male or higher percentage subscribers?
Okay.
That's an excellent question.
They're
That's a good
higher
question,
percentage
isn't it?
male for sure. Okay. 30% of watch time is from non-subscribers. That's actually higher than I expected from non-subscribers.
Oh, I wonder if those are weirdos that rely on the YouTube homepage to give them the content that they want
surely it's
instead of.
people in our Discord feed clicking our links who haven't subscribed.
That's probably true. Who just aren't subscribed because they just click on the links.
Ever since I learned that there are people who don't subscribe to channels and just rely on the homepage to give them the content that they want. Like,
that is insane.
My life changed.
I do use the homepage a lot,
Because
but
you
I
tried it and loved it?
No, because this is wrong.
No, you cannot rely on the crazy YouTube algorithm, which constantly changes and it gets better or
The
worse
things
all the
that
time.
you want, you subscribe to them, and like the bell is another. Like, I've never had an issue where like my subscriptions feed will not show me things. Like, I always go to my subs feed and I scroll down through everything, and I'm like, I'm gonna watch this, I'm gonna watch this, I'm gonna watch this. I've never had issues where videos are hidden from me.
Well, let me tell you, our age and gender demographics is 94% male. So
yeah, that's
and popular
statistically
with
approximately right.
And for new
what I
viewers, they
expected.
came in with the interview with Brandon on Wind and Truth. So everything's making sense. And videos growing
Not
with
a
our
single
audience
surprise was had.
was the Apple TV buys rights to the whole Cosmere. So that all this checks out here. Anyway, bye. This episode's over. So see you next
Anyway, bye.
time.
Bye.
Bye.
Caw.